Coming up next, it's the Western Bulldogs and Melbourne.
Most quiz shows have intellectual giants.
Did you know that, Craig? Did you know that?
Most have fascinating facts.
Julia Bishop got a Barbie doll.
But only one has betrayal. Join Craig Rucastle and Alex Lee for Win the Week.
Don't let me down.
Where swapping celebrities
Come to mama, baby.
is the path to victory.
Well, we're still losing.
Who will they betray to win the week? Find out Wednesday, August 3rd on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
We're gonna be kids.
Grandstand AFL
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
It's the rematch of the rematch. The second meeting of last year's grand finalists, the Western Bulldogs and Melbourne, after their return bout on opening night. But all of that is ancient history in the footy world because there's high stakes tonight in terms of both these teams' 2022 campaigns. For Melbourne, they have a chance to go a game clear inside the top two and join the Cats in that position. While for the Western Bulldogs, if they can win here, they will be in the top 8 tonight. This is Grandstand AFL, the Western Bulldogs and the Demons under the roof at Docklands. Corbin Middlemass alongside Matt Clinch. There is no late change for the Dogs. There is a late change for Melbourne. Jake Lever is out, their All-Australian defender, so he misses with the shoulder injury sustained in last week's game in the Red Centre. In comes Adam Tomlinson, so ultimately he holds his place in Melbourne's team. The two Medi subs, Robbie McComb for the Western Bulldogs and Toby Bedford for the Demons. Good evening, Clinchy.
Evening, Corby. Good evening to our listeners. Who's going to take 8th position? Mike Candle for the Dogs burnt out a long time ago, except for the fact that they're still mathematically in the equation. They win tonight, all of a sudden they're into the top 8. So for everything that's gone wrong, there's a chance to showcase their best tonight. Aaron Norton returns from the health and safety protocols. Josh Bruce is back. We see the return of Buku Kamas, who's now a defender. Tim English is in the side. Marcus Montebelli's playing like a top 10 player in the competition. And all of a sudden they're facing Melbourne, who haven't quite solidified their best form. Had a great win against the Brisbane Lions. They're coming from a 6-day break back from the Alice Springs conditions where it was warmer temperatures, but the Demons do get back Oliver and Petty. So it's just enough in it to think that if the Dogs could finally showcase their best, win tonight, what a statement, and all of a sudden they're back in the finals calculation. Losing, we'd like to see Melbourne showcase their best tonight, and that might be good for everyone.
I'm not sure how much the psyche of last year's grand final plays into this meeting, given that they have already met once since. In grand final rematches, so the first meeting following the grand final, they're split 5-5 in the last 10. The second meeting after the grand final, just a 30% win record for the Premiers in those games in the last 10. So the runners-up actually lead that head-to-head category 7-3. Two men who know about a little bit of this dynamic. They are Premiership players, Mark McClure and Adam Ramanauskas, as always. Evening, lads.
Yeah, good evening. That's what a fascinating stat that is, Cook. Just to start the night.
Wasn't that what everyone was wondering? What's the second meeting numbers?
No, I don't think so. But anyway, I like
still
you.
Got some pieces.
I love your research.
Is anyone still listening? Anyway.
Does
it play any role at all?
No, I don't think so. Yep. I think the first meeting definitely does.
Yep.
Particularly if there's a bit of spite in that grand final. There's no doubt. Yeah, the first meeting does it to some extent. I think the second meeting, well, the Bulldogs are simply fighting for a top 8 spot now. It's opening up with Richmond and Fremantle drawing last night, and I think with Melbourne, I want to start to see them change gears now. I think they've been sort of in that, third, fourth gear for a lot of the year. Their recent form has been quite ordinary. So can they start really clicking into gear now and showing what they are as a premiership team?
Well, they're 132% on the ladder, and the Doggies are 112, so they're 20% above them. So they're not going to catch up on that. So their scoring levels are high. What I like to see about them is they got to actually work out. Excuse me. They got to work out exactly what their habits are going to be from now on to get better and to be better in coming towards the finals. This is a time to start to spark up. 5 or 6 games out. Yeah. Get yourself ready. Start your plans. Get yourself right. Get the right team in place. And let them rip into it because they are awesome side, Melbourne.
Fifth member of our team, Lauren Borden, is on the boundary for us tonight. Good evening, Lauren.
Good evening, Corbin. Really nice to be down here. Pretty pleasant conditions, actually, under the roof at Docklands, away from the consistent rain that we've had in Melbourne all day today. probably not the largest crowd tonight at Docklands on a Saturday night, but there are a few people still coming through the turnstiles and in the stairwell, so hopefully it will grow a little bit. Like you mentioned, Jake Lever was the laid out. And for Melbourne, Toby Bedford will sit as a sub for the 10th time this season, while Rory McComb will be the sub for the Western Bulldogs. So that's, the way it sits tonight. Might see Toby Bedford coming on again, but I think he's used to sitting at the back of the pine.
The two best teams of 2021 to shape their 2022 campaigns, the D's and the Dogs. You're with Matt Clinch.
Gawn starting in the middle up against English. One down the opening tap. Got it to Viney, who kicks to half forward. Awkward bouncing ball for Spargo. He tries to gather with Richards. Richards over the top of the footy and now scraps forward at ground level. Spargo lost his footing. Treloar's hand pass back to Bontempelli. Slaps it to Liberatore's advantage and now to Treloar. From half back for the Dogs. Up towards Norton and Bruce. It clears the two with May getting a touch onto it. Hibbert races back for Melbourne. Hand pass to the ever-reliable Brayshaw. Off the outside of his boot. He hugs the boundary line. And McNeil tried to juggle the mark. His second grab was over the line. And a boundary thrown in front of the two benches.
Who wins tonight, Rammer and Sellers? Who have you got?
D's me.
D's?
Yeah, I think they'll win. I think they're comfortable.
I'll tip the Dogs. I'll go and upset.
Good on you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Boundary throw in, Gawn on the wing, palms it down, Oliver back in the side, jams it on the boot down to half forward, and a good mark for Wiedemann, who's got it about 55 out, just looks into the pocket, kicks it in the man on the mark, spills off the fingertips of Keith to Oliver, kicks to the top of the goal square, clean bowls everyone. Williams getting back, he's ushered by Langdon over the boundary line and a throw in, forward pocket for the Demons. There's one other game tonight. They're a little ahead of us, so 15 minutes into the first quarter, the Lions lead the Suns by 1, so the Q clash, it's Brisbane 2-2, Gold Coast 2-1, no late change up in Brisbane.
Toss back into play. Wiedemann doing the ruck work, the late inclusion for Ben Brown, and then of course Tomlinson coming in for Jake Lever for the front of the pack, and Cosy Pickett trying to swoop onto it. 6 goals last week in the red centre, so what can he do this week? Cosy Pickett having the last few weeks, a couple of their individual stars have led the way for Melbourne rather than the system that we've become so used to. English wins down the tap to Dale of the Dogs. Hand pass looking for McRae. It's wide of him. And Langdon sees it roll out of play for a throw-in. Still 45 metres out from the Demons' goal, opening 2 minutes. No score from Docklands.
Melbourne, the best first quarter team in the competition. They've won 13 of their 17 opening terms. We've got a boundary throw in here, half forward for the D's. Wiedemann and English to do the ruck work. It spills down to Wiedemann. Quick hand pass away to Melcham. He's dispossessed. Spills to Pickett, who sockers it goalward, but he's offline. Hot off 6 last week in Alice Springs, and the first score of the game are behind to Keziah Pickett. 2.5 minutes into the opening term.
Of course, the Demons only managed 4 behinds last week. Port Adelaide got the jump, kicking the opening 2 goals of the match. Dale brings it back into play for the Dogs. Got it to McRae and back to Dale, up to the wing. Great one-handed mark. As Williams pulls it in, he had the size advantage on Langdon, and he was able to take an impressive mark on the wing. Now where to? It's a congested down the city side wing. Backpedaling, sends a high ball towards Riley West. Underneath it, Max Gawn juggles the mark and takes the impressive contested mark across half-back. Back inside the defensive 50 to Brayshaw, and then all the way back to Tomlinson. He's going to bring it out to right half-back, where the mark is taken by Jordan.
If you thought it was as unusual as I did that we've been calling Sam Wiedemann, he's a very late in for Ben Brown. So that's after the teams have come through. So there's no Brown for Melbourne. Wiedemann is in the team and he's already been involved as the D's go down the wing and Viney's tackled out of play. So a boundary throw-in.
Struggled to train during the week. Apparently Ben Brown has some cartilage damage from a previous injury to his knee. So unfortunately was unlikely to get up.
So that came in after the teams came through from the boundary throw-in. English grabs it out of the ruck, bangs his kick down to half forward, and it bounces out of play. So we'll have a free kick here for a deliberate out of bounds, and the kick's going to go the way of Hibbert, who will take it at half back. So not enough intent to keep it in from Tim English. A behind for the D's. Dogs yet to score. Long kick down the wing. English tries to put his fist through it. Spills to Wiedemann. Hand pass to Oliver. He's tackled. Taken to ground and a ball up on the wing. D's by a point.
A lot of close games this weekend by the look of it. Last night, today.
Geelong and Port Adelaide a thriller. Liberatore from the stoppage. Kicks up the wing. Garcia had it spoiled away. Here's Bontempelli. Long towards Norton and May. 1-on-1. It clears the 2. They race back after it. It trickles towards the boundary line. And May's pretty happy to see it out of play. Is that deliberate?
And that's
throw it in.
But that's exactly the ball that the Bulldogs want all night. So isolating Norton and May one-on-one, just give him a chance, Sellers. Give him a chance all night. Get the other forwards away so they can't come over and help Stephen May. So used to having Jake Lever there.
Boundary throw in. Gawn swats it down. Out after it is McRae for the Bulldogs. Hand pass to Treloar. High half forward. He just snaps across the body. Inside the forward pocket. Norton gets a run at it. No mark. Spills down in front of Viney in the defensive 50. Hand pass for Melbourne. McNeil can't take it clean. Spills to Petrarca and he just kicks it straight to Hannon. And his former teammate, now in Bulldogs colours, takes the mark inside the centre square. Pops it back inside 50 and Dunkley, standing at the back, won't be paid the mark.
He's touched.
Touched him away through by Petty and a free ball up now, forward pocket for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, Hannon's kick was touched. It was a good mark by Dunkley, unfortunately touched.
Gawn wins down the tap on the defensive line to Petrarca. Kick straight to the boundary. This should be deliberate. Yeah, it was out on the full in the end, so the Bulldogs would have got it one way or the other, and Bailey Dale to take the free kick. He's probably almost within range with Charlie Spargo protecting the corridor. 50 metres out, he now darts out to the left. The kick from Dale, looking for Bontempelli.
What a kick.
What a great fly, what a great kick.
Went 10 foot off the ground the whole way. Bontempelli was in front of Oliver, took it easy. This is an easy kick for him on the left foot.
So now just has to work through the angle. 15 metres out. Bontempelli steps out, snaps on the left, and the Dogs have the opening goal of the match. The king of the kennel gives them the perfect start. 6 minutes in. The Bulldogs won straight 6 to Melbourne 1 behind. Opening term on ABC Sport with Adam Ramanaskas and Mark McClure.
He just looks a lot more free in his movement. Last week he was outstanding, Bontempelli. He was the difference in the game, no doubt. But they're even to be able to go up, mark that ball above his head. We know he's had that issue with his shoulder for a lot of the year, but that was strong. You know, Oliver was right with him there. Terrific kick by Bailey Dale, as Sellers mentioned. It was bullet-like. There was only one option, and Bailey Dale found that little hole, allowed Bontempelli to run into it. But I just love seeing Bontempelli being able to do that. We haven't seen that a lot this year from him, Sellers.
Well, their midfielders don't kick a lot of goals. That's their problem. They need them.
So the Bont with the first of the game. He's up to 21 for the season. They get the centre break here as English gets the clearance to centre half forward. May got hands to it. No mark. Spills to Garcia. Hand pass to Bruce. He just taps it away to McNeil, who's pushed off it. Dogs still going. Garcia has a second go. Breaks the tackle. Hand pass to McNeil. Gives it to Smith. Kicks to the top of the goal square for the Bulldogs. And Petty's getting back and just knocks it out of play in a boundary throw-in. Forward pocket for the Doggies.
What we know about the Dogs is their midfield's really strong. They're really powerful, but their defence and their forward line got a bit of sus in them at this stage. Bruce comes back in, maybe stiffen them up.
Bulldogs by 5 points. 8 minutes into the opening term. Gawn and Norton to do the ruck work. Gawn in front, palms it down. A little fumble from Jay Hannison twice. Left it behind. Liberatore heavily tackled by Oliver. Ball spits out to Mays. Hand pass got to Sparrow. He's tackled, dispossessed. Hibbert in the back pocket. Hand pass stolen away by Oliver, his own teammate. He gave it to Salem, who pops it up.
Still a chance. McNeil screws it back towards the teeth of goal. Bruce can't get a run at it. He collided into the behind post. It was out on the full regardless. Thankfully, he took a bit of his speed off his charge into the pocket. And we're just trying to work out whether it's going to be May or Tomlinson who takes the free kick. Stephen May ends up with it. Looks at short options. Comes to Hibbert. Still only about 20 metres out from his offensive goal. Call to play on. Turns dockside. It's over the head of Oliver. Dunkley underneath it. Could have almost got a free kick for chopping the arms, and Oliver did well against a couple. Bailey Smith and Dunkley to see it out for a boundary throw-in.
That was a horrible kick from full-back, I can tell you. They were lucky to get it to the line.
Dogs by 5 points. Bontempelli with the only goal. 9 minutes into the game. From the boundary throw-in, Gawn palms it down. Petrarca, hand pass reaches Sparrow. His handball, a turnover, picked up by Treloar. Hand pass to Leber, kicks inside the forward 50. Rivers spoils straight to the partner, Bailey Smith. Kicks under pressure to the top of the goal square. Petty back with courage, can't complete the mark. Jamara chucks it and bangs it into the fence for the Dogs' second. And Ugle-Hagan kicks one in the opening quarter, and all of a sudden the Dogs have got the jump. They kicked the first two of the game. They're two straight. Melbourne one behind. 10 minutes travelled in the opening term on Grandstand AFL.
Well, we've been waiting for Ugle-Hagan. They've been waiting a while, and now they've got the two talls up there in Brewster Norton. He's another one who gets off the leash a little bit. He gets the third best tall, and all of a sudden he just swooped on that and finished it off. They've spent a lot of time in their forward line in the last 5 or 6 minutes, the Dogs.
Yeah, 5 inside, 50s to 1, Sellers.
5 to 1, and they've just kept banging it in there and banging it in there. Eventually you must score, and Ugelhagen did. He's doing well. He's getting better. You can see it.
So the Bulldogs with the opening 2 goals. Meanwhile, in the Q clash, it's the Brisbane Lions 4-3-27, leading the Suns 3-1-19. Chance of the Suns to try and respond after last week's loss to the Bombers. Back in the middle, Jackson and English. Jackson won it down to Petrarca. Another textbook clearance for Melbourne. High kick towards Gawn. 3 against him in the air for the Dogs. Karma spoiled it down. Wiedemann stood down, gathered it in the pocket, squares it up to Gawn. With Keith slow to rise, Max Gawn was uncontested. He takes the mark on the 45. He'll kick from about 35 metres out.
It was a nice play by Wiedemann.
Clever.
He won the ball in that forward pocket and is in the right forward pocket, so could have had a chance. Melbourne have been criticised a little bit over the last couple of weeks for being a little bit selfish inside their forward 50, so I like that early from Wiedemann.
Is he still the All-Australian ruckman this year, Max Gawn? Question on notice for you to consider.
Who's been better?
That's a good point.
I'll ask the questions, you give the answers, thanks. Max Gawn, his 3rd game back from syndesmosis injury. He steers at the left goal post. And the goal umpire calls a behind. That seemed to the right-hand side of it. Was given a behind. No score review. So Melbourne 2 behinds, the Dogs 2 straight 12.
We had a pretty good view of that.
Yeah.
It looked good. As Dale on the exiting kick out, it's chopped off by Jackson. Can't take clean possession. Spills to Fritsch. There's a free kick here. Advantage applied. Fritsch gives it to Harms. Kicks into the pocket. And Pickett marks.
Can the ARC review a point?
They say they review every... Is it just every goal or
goal.
every score?
Yeah.
Every goal,
Good question.
This kid's kicked 26 goals in his first year. It's not a bad effort from the young man. He's gone back a fair way.
He's coming off 6 last week in a match-winning performance. Melbourne beaten in a lot of key areas around the ground, and his 6 separated the 2 teams last Sunday. His set shot is not on here as he just leaves it short and puts it across the face. Gee, English takes the intercept mark in front of the behind post. And he goes short across the goal face to Bailey Dale, who will have another go at trying to exit defensive 50.
Up to Liberatore, who takes the mark down low. In front of Rivers, has it at right half back for the Western Bulldogs. Got a late option to try and switch. Pulls his kick down low for Richards. He made it work. Got it away from Harms. Hand pass to English around the city wing to Riley West. Fires a hand pass out wide from McRae. Another disposal. He looks into the middle of the ground. He misses Treloar. The pressure mounting up. Taken for Melbourne by Neil Bullen. Gives it to Brayshaw. Kicks towards Fritsch. 2-on-1. It's spoiled late by Dale. Provides good support for Gardner. The 2 wrestle it. Gardner gives it back to Dale. He's kicked for Keith. He's lunging to his right and he pulls in the mark. So both sides just lacking a bit in execution in the last few minutes.
Hand pass to Dale. He shoots a handball along the boundary line to Garcia, trying to take on Neil Bullen. Hurried kick forward and an intercept mark for Tomlinson. It was the late inclusion came in for Jake Lever, who's out with a shoulder complaint.
Been waiting for Gawn to go and play up forward. He causes a problem for most people in the forward line, I can tell you.
Dogs by 10 points. They've kicked the only 2 goals. Puts it inside 50. Wiedemann reaching over the pack. No mark. Spills down to Richards. Hand pass to Dale. Sends it along the boundary line. Yeah. It's out of play.
And particularly, Sellers, if they're going to kick to a contest in their forward. Over the last 6 weeks, it's rare to see Melbourne hit up a target leading inside their forward 50. They put it on their key forwards' heads. So I think having Gawn down there will help.
Trying back in, Jackson wins down the tap for Melbourne. Bontempelli tries to charge his way through. Broke 1 tackle, hand pass picked off by Oliver. Inside 50, Wiedemann in from the side. Couldn't take the mark, brought it to ground level. Fritsch picks it up and snaps through Melbourne's first. It took 13 minutes, but the Demons are on the board through their number 1 goal kicker, Bailey Fritsch. He's been accused of burning a few teammates in recent weeks, but there was no mistaking his agile pickup and clean finish there. Melbourne 1-2-8 to the Bulldogs 2 straight 12.
And that was Oliver out of that contest there. That's his 2nd clearance for the game. So he's wearing the glove on the hand where he broke his thumb, but hasn't looked like it slowed him down too much. He's had four possessions to start this game. It's an interesting one with Bailey Fritsch. I love actually seeing him further up the ground. I think what's happening a lot with Bailey Fritsch, he's getting sucked towards the goals. And a lot of the times he's leading backwards rather than forwards. His great strength is his speed on the lead. hitting up at the kicker. So I want to see him just a bit further up at the ground and hitting up at the kicker.
Adam Rabanauskas on Grandstand AFL. Dogs by 4 points. English leaps over Jackson, palms it straight down to Dunkley, kicks to centre half forward. Petty spoils, but straight down to McRae. Hand pass over the top to the run of West, who shoots goalward. It just hits the outside of his boot and trickles out of bounds. The boundary throw in forward pocket for the Bulldogs.
And then they missed his foot, didn't he?
Meanwhile, almost quarter time in Brisbane in the Q clash. It's the Lions by 8 points who lead the Suns there.
Toss back in, Norton doing the ruck against Jackson. It spills off his chest. Bontempelli gathers, free kick, high contact. And it's going to be a Dogs free kick.
To who?
Yeah, to Norton, straight over the shoulder from Jackson. So it was there.
Okay.
It was there. It was definitely high contact.
So it's a gift for the Dogs. And Aaron Norton back in the lineup after serving his week out with the health and safety protocols. 42 goals of the season. And a chance to get a real look at him alongside Josh Bruce, Cody Waitman. The Bulldogs at their absolute best. 30 metres out, Norton comes in, pokes at it and steers it through. The Dogs with 3 of the opening 4 goals of the match. They return to a 10-point advantage. 3 straight 18 to Melbourne 1-2-8 on ABC Sport. You're with Mark McClure and Adam Rabanauskas.
Well, there might be a little bit of a slump here, Melbourne. They just can't move the ball up to their forward line. They can't get it out of their defence. They're being flogged in the inside 50s in every way they have, and they're 3 goals to 1. I mean, where are you at now? What are you thinking about? Max Gawn needs to go back into the ruck, and they should put him back in there at some stage, and get some power in that area. Jackson's in the ruck at the moment, and their midfield's getting knocked about because of how they're moving the ball out of defence and all those sorts of areas. So seriously, this is a problem for the D's.
The D's have jumped the Dogs in their last 2 encounters, of course going back to last year's grand final before the Dogs were able to have a bit of a purple patch in the second quarter of both games. Bruce doing some of the ruck work here. Dogs by 10. The spills down underneath Sparrow with the Demons. He's tackled, got it out to Viney, upsets it's all okay. Hand pass to Petrarca, feeds it forward to Sparrow, kicks inside 50. Neil Bullen takes the mark, centre half forward, 40 metres out.
Yeah, they just pushed it forward. There's Sparrow in there, Viney in there, Petrarca. Just a little handball there. Then it's back to Sparrow again. It was good. It wasn't clean, but it was just good play, good tough play by the Demons.
He's kicked 4 goals, 12 for the year. Alex Neil Bullen, a little wayward with the finish, but not tonight. He's got his 5th goal of the season and a settler for the Demons. Cuts the margin back to single digits. 3 straight 18, the Western Bulldogs. Melbourne 2-2-14. It's the Doggies by 4 points. 18 minutes played opening term. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
An early concern for James Jordan. He came off with discomfort in his left knee, went down to the rooms to get some strapping. He's been down there for about 5 minutes or so. Bedford went for a little bit of a warm-up, but he's come back to the bench. Jordan's just walked up from the rooms now, so we'll see if he goes back on.
Yeah, maybe early. Well, he's got a lot of strapping around that knee, James Jordan, so he's just jogging along the boundary just to test this out. But, yeah, look, definitely needed that. Did that hit the post on the way through?
Oh, no. Not another controversial one.
No, they're going to bounce the ball.
I think they're going to bounce it, so it might be too late. But it looked to me that might have just clipped the post on the way through.
You've been hot on the goal umpire at the Coventry.
I hope it's not David Roden, my man.
He's had his issues in front of goal. Alex Neil Bullen as well. 5-12 for the season. Melbourne get the free kick through, the clearance through Viney, but Dunkley was taken high. He gets the clearance for the Dogs. Up to the wing where Bruce takes the mark. Hand pass to Hannon. Up towards half forward. McNeil marks right on 50. He looks at options into the pocket. Melbourne have now pushed numbers back. Bruce wants it short. He goes for it. Slapped away by Petrarca. Did he have the mark? Not paid. Neil Bullen picks it up on defensive 50. Hand pass to Oliver. Over the top to Spargo at right half back. He looks long down the wing. Option long was Melcham. He pulled the kick. Harms dropped the mark though off balance. A chance for Hannon. Hand pass inward to Treloar. He dodges and weaves through traffic. Looks up to 50. The target was Waitman, but Bontempelli charged to the front. Couldn't take the mark. Brayshaw clears and the kick to Sparrow, who marks at the back edge of the centre square.
He had to be precise and was.
He had one option and was able to hit that target on his left foot. Angus Brayshaw, brilliant.
Sparrow goes short and wide, uses the perimeter to Langdon, who kicks down the boundary line to Hibbert, doesn't take the mark but follows up, can kick inside the forward 50. Fritsch goes for a climb onto the back of Karmas. No whistle, ball's out of play. There is a whistle. Free kick for Karmas, the unrealistic attempt from Bailey Fritsch.
realistic.
We didn't touch the footy, so
No, fair.
it goes against him. Buku Kama's second game back in the team. He was one of 6 inclusions for the Dogs last Friday night. The new role in defence. Saw him start his AFL career up front. Beautiful left-footed drop pump as he sends it down the City wing. Hands to it from May. Spills to Norton. His hand pass didn't get to Garcia. Norton a second go. Reaches him this time. Just paddles it away to Smith. Hand pass to Jamari. Mowed down by Viney. Heavy tackle and pinged holding the ball. Free kick for Melbourne in the centre square.
Exactly what they needed. With a body on body.
Kick out towards Spargo as the free kick was quickly taken by Viney. Couldn't take
And
the
again.
mark, and now McNeil's wrapped up. Not sure how he got the ball clear. It's a good tackle from Jordan. It comes to Salem. Petrarca almost run down to Viney through the gauntlet. Trelaw got him. Hand pass inboard to Jackson. To Salem. Quick kick inside 50. Fritsch and Karmas once more. Fritsch almost juggled the mark. Not paid. Karmas lays the tackle. And they'll lock it up 25 metres out from Melbourne's goal.
Jeez, Christian Salem needed to go straight inside forward 50 rather than giving the handball to Pickett. He wanted the 1-2 to get the extra possession. Needs to go inside, give your forwards more of a chance.
Adam Ramanauskas with you on ABC Sport. Melbourne in attack, Dogs by 4. Tap down to Melcham, jabs it on the boot. He can't steer it straight, and it misses to the right-hand side. Bulldogs by 3 points. 20 minutes go on opening term.
Quarter time in Brisbane. The Lions by 8 points over the Gold Coast Suns. And earlier, Geelong by 12 points over Port Adelaide. Scores were level time on in the last. Geelong had to kick the last 2 goals of the game to win it. A long kick out of defensive 50 from Hannon, and it's well marked by Williams. Wins a one-on-one against Langdon. Hand pass to Smith. Kicks along the boundary line to Waitman, who marks. Gets a little shove for his efforts from Tomlinson. The long sleeves on tonight. Cody Waitman. He's just going to lay it up in the English direction. Reaching for it, Jackson. It beats them both. Spills through to Hibbert. He's dispossessed. Falls the Dogs' way. Picked up and snapped goal, and it's a superb finish. Garcia hooks it through, and the Dogs have kicked their 4th. Just a piece of individual brilliance. Garcia picking it up around his bootlaces, hooked it goalward, and through it sails. The Bulldogs 4 straight. Melbourne 2-3. Time on in the opening term. The Doggies by 9.
Well, their ball movement was superb down the wing. The kick out from full back to the wing, and the mark by Williams, I think it might have been. And then the next one down with Cody Waitman, who punched it in, bang. And then Garcia jumps on board and just kicks a left foot, just goes straight through the middle. So it had 3 or 4 kicks only to get to the goals from the other end. Well done, the Doggies. They moved it quickly, they're sharp, they're quick, they didn't chip it around, they didn't fiddle with it. They got it into a danger zone, and Garcia finished it off.
So the Dogs have made an impressive start here, leading by 9 points at the moment. Coming up with an answer to every challenge from the Demons. Gawn's back in the middle up against English here. Bounce straight as an arrow. Knocked down by Gawn. Liberatore over the footy. He and Sparrow scrap for it. Gawn shovels a hand pass forward. Ricochets off Neil Bullen to Oliver. Inside 50. Great kick. And finds Melcham in the right forward pocket. A textbook clearance for the Demons with Gawn and Oliver involved. And Jake Melcham, who wasn't, of course, part of the Demons premiership side, but there may be a role for him here in this Demons side late in season 2022. He's going to start on the angle. He's going to step across his body and snap on the left from 35 metres out. Jake Melcham, superb. Goal for goal here at Docklands, and the Demons close the margin back to 3 points the Western Bulldogs' way. 3-3-21 to the Dogs, 4 straight 24. 23 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport.
They're a lot cleaner out of centre bounce, the Demons. So that's 2 occasions now out of the centre bounce, two goals. So last one to Neil Bullen, now another one to Melcham. But where the concern will lie for the Western Bulldogs, it's out the front door. They're coming right out the front, so they're not going. It's not out the back, or then having used a number of handballs. It's out the front where all the forward needs to do is just find a little bit of space, and the kick's hitting. So it's a little bit concerning for the Dogs.
Jake Melcham had his first game since round 11 last week against the Power. So second up, as Clinchy said, not part of their premiership team, but one of the 3 new faces in tonight from that successful team last September. Viney with a hurried centre clearance, chopped off by Dale though for the Bulldogs. Hand pass to Treloar, spears his kick out to the City wing, and McNeil marks down on his knees. Hand pass away to Bailey Smith, can put them inside 50 in a hurry. Salem stands underneath it, no mark, spills to Petty of the Demons. Hand pass away to Viney, kicks out of the defensive 50, and Oliver takes the mark. Half back for the Demons, Dogs by 3.
Oliver long towards Jackson. He flies with Karmas behind. Couldn't take the mark. Pickett trying to run onto it. Richards careful, trying to not give him an inch of space to break clear. And in the end, sees him out of play for a boundary throw-in. Dogs by 3 points. 25 minutes gone, opening term. In the second of the grand final rematches. Thrown back in. Gawn takes front position against English. Tries to slap it to the back. Liberatore couldn't gather. Neil Bullen could. McNeil tackled him. Trying to knock it clear. McRae. Dunkley socket off the ground, but not all that effective. Petrarca for Melbourne. Hand pass into the middle for Rivers. Links up with Jordan. Looks up to half forward. Puts it out in front of Sparrow. Sliding on his knees. He takes the mark.
7 times the sub last year. Forced his way into the starting 22 and was there on grand final day without the Medi sub. Tag next to his name as Sparrow kicks into the pocket. They come from all directions. Spills down to Hannon. Jams it on the boot out of the defensive arc. Back to Sparrow.
Have another go.
He looks back into the corridor. Finds Hibbard. Crowded forward 50 for Melbourne. And Hibbard's just going to go long in the Wiedemann direction in the pocket. He goes on a climb. Karmas punches it away. There's a free kick for a push. Gee, it's going to come. No, it's going against Wiedemann.
Yeah, he flew so early and pushed his opponent out of the way.
I'm not sure it should be Karmas' free kick. That's a very odd decision. I'm not sure there was anyone that received any contact from Wiedemann who leapt for the footy. Karmas takes the free though. As centre-half back English, hand pass away to Richards, hurriedly kicks into the front 50. Here comes Waitman with speed, involved in a tangle with Petty. He's pushed off it. Petty wins the footy for Melbourne and hits up Sparrow along the boundary line. Who got a free kick.
That was a mark anyway. It wasn't a free kick, it was a mark.
Regardless, Melbourne with the footy at half-back. It's the Dogs by 3 points as we close in on quarter-time.
Josh Dunkley with the chopping of the arms in the eyes of the umpire. So Sparrow has it at right half-back. Bulldogs by 3 points. Call to play on, so kicks long towards Gawn. From the side, English couldn't take the mark. Gawn gathers. High ball towards the 50. Wiedemann underneath it. Karmas and Gardner there. Spoiled down to Melcham. Can put it out in front of Cozzy Pickett. He runs onto it. Top of the goal square. Just to gather. Out the finish. Cozzy's on the board. And Melbourne are in front. It's taken a little while to get going, the Demons. But when Cozzy Pickett's involved in the passage of play, you normally know how it's going to end. 4-3-27 Melbourne to the Bulldogs 4 straight 24. 27 minutes gone. Opening term on ABC Sport with Adam Romanascus and Mark McClure.
Well, Jake Melcham's having a real impact in this quarter. 1 goal, 1, and that's a direct goal assist. He could have easily had a shot himself, but just popped it over the top to Cozzy Pickett for an easy goal. So I'm really liking his role at the moment, what he's trying to do. I don't think the Bulldogs are giving him the respect that he deserves because they're just laying off him at the moment. So
is it a better mix than the 3 bigs to have Melcham in there as that sort of mid-sized player?
Yeah. If Bailey Fritsch is virtually playing as a tall at the moment because he's not playing higher up the ground.
He only had the 6 disposals and a goal against Port Adelaide, but did have 7 tackles.
Second lead change of the night. Gawn palms it down to Oliver. Squeezes the kick out. Viney puts his head over it. Got high contact from Liberatore. Free kick for Viney. So highly unusual here. The Dogs have led for most of the opening quarter, but as Rama's outlined, sort of been beaten out of the middle, and Melbourne are about to get another centre break here. As Viney can put the D's inside the forward 50. They lead by 3 points. He just lays it up in front of Max Gawn. It's punched away from him by Bontempelli. The 2 captains duel it out as it falls the way of Petrarca. He's tackled, dispossessed. Now Oliver trying to become the tackler on West. Somehow extracts the footy. Bontempelli gives it to Liver. Kicks off half-back for the Bulldogs. Brayshaw, the taller man, against Waitman and outmarks him. On the outer edge of the centre square. Can pump the D's back inside 50. Kicks it to the hot spot. Karmas leaps up, got a hand on it. There's another whistle. And a free kick for an illegal shepherd for the D's.
And that'll be against, is that to Gawn?
It'll go to Wiedemann.
Yeah. So he's causing some trouble down there, Gawn. He's a target. You put him in that spot. He's tall. They have to grapple. They have to push and shove. Was that a free kick or not? Oh, it was a little one there. Tiny.
Sellers, you would have kicked 1,000 goals. They'll give him free kicks like that away.
I don't think so.
I think so.
D's starting to have their way increasingly. They've kicked 3 on the bounce. And all of a sudden, Melbourne out by 9 points as Sam Wiedemann pops it through. The Demons now 5-3-33. The Western Bulldogs 4 straight 24. Half-hour mark opening term.
Now they're starting to take some control. They're starting to move the ball well. I love the way that they're pumping it in there. And I like the movement of having gone down there as a focal point. He's gone back into the middle now. But, gee whiz, it makes a big difference. You go to him, he's tall, and everyone runs off him. He may not have marked it, but he's actually caused a few things to happen down there that people don't understand. Sam Wiedemann finished off well. Not certain it was a free kick. Not certain about all that. But you know what? Not much we can do about it.
The Dogs got out by 10 points. Melbourne with 3 goals in 7 minutes to take a 9-point advantage heading towards quarter time. Clayton Oliver alongside Marcus Bontempelli hasn't missed a beat in his return. Bounce back in the middle. Gawn tries to knock it down, but Bailey Smith's onto it for the Dogs. Kicks up towards half forward. Dunkley underneath it. Brayshaw there with him. Nudge him underneath. Couldn't take the chest mark. Regathers. 1-2 with Jordan. Back to Brayshaw. Kick smothered by Dunkley. Spills to McNeil. Kicks into the pocket. It's on the bounce for Riley West. He gathers it well. Hand pass back to Dunkley. 40 metres out. Snaps across his body. Too far out for the snap. And he curls it out of bounds on the full. Melbourne by 9 points.
Early in the second quarter up in Brisbane, so 7 minutes into the second term, Lions by 15 over the Suns. Long kick from Stephen May out of defensive 50. Max Gawn with a contested grab in between 2 Bulldogs. Rips it down from the sky. He kicks down the wing to Wiedemann, a one-on-one, and Gardner gets rid of him, takes the intercept mark for the Dogs.
Wiedemann's got to hold his ground better than that.
D's by 9 points. 2 lead changes in the opening quarter. Melbourne have kicked the last 3 of the game. As Gardner goes back to Hannon, and Hannon will swing his kick back to the boundary line for Karmas. Still in the defensive half. D's with a late change. Jake Lever ruled out with a shoulder complaint, so Tomlinson took his place in the starting 22. Karmas hits up McNeil. Hand pass away to Bailey Smith. Pressure from Harms. His kick skids down the wing. Dunkley can't take it clean. Viney for the Demons. Hand pass to Brayshaw. Kicks hurriedly out wide. Trickles out of play. The field umpire says just spin that back in. Right in front of the interchange gate.
I just don't know why that handball's given. So McNeil takes the mark, stationary, gives it the handball to Bailey Smith on the boundary, stationary.
Adam Ramanauskas with you on ABC Sport from the throw-in. Slap down to the front. Oliver trying to gather. McNeil's tackle may have lingered a little. Umpire says no, throw it in. Last year's grand final, Melbourne scored 7 goals to 1 from centre bounce clearances. As Rama outlined, they've led the way here with 6 of the 10 centre bounce clearances in this opening term. Thrown back in, Gawn wins down the tap, but straight to Bailey Smith. Hand pass to Bontempelli over his shoulder to Liberatore, couldn't pick it up. Harms went over the top, could have made high contact. Melbourne through Viney. Hand pass to Brayshaw, kicks off the outside of the boot, and it rolls out of play.
So you can't boo over a forced kick where it goes off the side of the foot. If he was proficient at that, he'd be a genius.
Robbie McComb and Toby Bedford, the 2 subs tonight. Bedford for the 10th time this year. Starts as the Medi sub for Melbourne. Boundary throw in. English palms it down. Here's Bontempelli. Quick kick forward. Waitman playing in front. Can't complete the mark. Pressure from Brayshaw. Shoots a hand pass to centre half forward. Dunkley grabs it. Bursts through one tackler. Almost dragged down by Neil Bullen. His handball picked off. And Petty's got it. Kicks out wide for Pickett. He's got it for the D's at half back.
Kicks it over the top to Melcham. He has it at left half back. City side for the Demons. They lead by 9 points approaching quarter time.
That Neil Bullen tackle was just absolutely spectacular.
Melcham veers out to the right. Long kick towards Wiedemann in the pack. Buku, Karmas and Garcia comes down to Fritsch. He's tackled and then tries to lay the tackle on Richards. Langdon over around the footy. Oliver picks it up. Kicks inside 50. Wiedemann and Pickett are all on their own. And in the end, English was the only player pushing back, and you think, where's my defenders? As Sam Wiedemann takes the mark just before the quarter time siren. And a chance for the second for the Weed. And a chance for back-to-back goals for him.
Thank Neil Bullen for that. That's where it started. Straight down 20 metres out. Going to kick a goal. Not anymore. Neil Bullen just grabbed him to ground. Fantastic.
So Sam Wiedemann getting his opportunity tonight with no Ben Brown. After the quarter time siren, out to the left, he'll kick from right on 50. Wiedemann comes in, it's left all the way. but he's got it. It didn't look all that convincing off the boot until Max Gawn put his fist up in celebration on the goal line. Sam Wiedemann with his second. Back-to-back goals in the match. And after the Bulldogs started so promisingly, Melbourne finished with the last 4 goals of the quarter to lead by 15 points. 6-3-39 to the Dogs, 4 straight 24. Wiedemann with 2 for the Demons. Individuals to Fritsch, Neil Bullen and Melcham. Meanwhile, for the Dogs, their goals have come through Ugelhagen, Bontempelli, Norton and Garcia.
Interesting quarter, as Clinchy mentioned, a 15-point lead now for Melbourne, so that's a game high after the Dogs led it by 11 points early in the piece. So Melbourne back the other way with a strong finish to the term. They did make a late change. Jake Lever is out with a shoulder complaint. In comes Tomlinson to the starting 22, and Wiedemann, who's playing tonight. While I was looking up, Rama, how many times the grand finalists, what the record was in their second meeting last night, Ben Brown was ruled out of the team, and as a result, Sam Wiedemann takes his place in the Melbourne lineup. The Demons by 15 points at quarter time, 6-3-39 over the Western Bulldogs, 4 straight 24. This is Grandstand AFL.
Take 2 cups of family love.
God, I hate you!
Yeah, ditto.
Add a splash of angry chef.
It's my soup.
Fine, have your slop.
And a pinch of drama. And you have a recipe for disaster.
2 weeks community service.
Just stay away from me.
Is there a problem, Easton?
The new season of Aftertaste. Come back for seconds, Wednesday nights on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season. Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Bailey Dale to take the free kick. 50 metres out, he now darts out to the left. The kick from Dale, looking for Bontempelli. Great fly, what a great kick. So now just has to work through the angle. 15 metres out, Bontempelli steps out, snaps on the left, and the Dogs have the opening goal of the match.
Lever kicks inside the forward 50. Rivers spoils straight to the partner, Bailey Smith. Kicks under pressure to the top of the goal square. Petty back with courage, can't complete the mark. Jamara shucks it and bangs it into the fence for the Dogs' second.
Jackson wins down the tap for Melbourne. Bontempelli tries to charge his way through. Broke one tackle. Hand pass picked off by Oliver. Inside 50. Wiedemann in from the side. Couldn't take the mark. Brought it to ground level. Fritsch picks it up and snaps through Melbourne's first. Cross back in. Not doing the ruck against Jackson. It spills off his chest. Bontempelli gathers. Free kick. High contact. It's going to be a Dogs free kick.
Straight over the shoulder from Jackson. He was there.
30 metres out. Norton comes in. Pokes at it and steers it through.
Spills down underneath Sparrow with the Demons. He's tackled. Got it out to Viney. Upsets it's all okay. Hand pass to Petrarca. Feeds it forward to Sparrow. Kicks inside 50. Neil Bullen takes the mark. Centre half forward. 40 metres out. He's kicked 4 goals, 12 for the year. Alex Neil Bullen. A little wayward with the finish, but not tonight. He's got his 5th goal of the season and a settler for the Demons. Well marked by Williams. Wins a 1-on-1 against Langdon. Hand pass to Smith. Kicks along the boundary line to Waitman. He's going to lay it up in the English direction. Reaching for it, Jackson. It beats them both. Spills through to Hibbert. He's dispossessed. Falls the Dogs' way. Picked up and snapped goal, and it's a superb finish. Garcia hooks it through.
Gawn shovels a hand pass forward. Ricochets off Neil Bullen to Oliver. Inside 50. Great kick. And finds Melcham in the right forward pocket. From 35 metres out. Jake Melcham superb. High ball towards the 50. Wiedemann underneath it. Karmas and Gardner there. Spoiled down to Melcham. Can put it out in front of Cozzy Pickett. He runs onto it. Top of the goal square just to gather. Now the finish. Cozzy's on the board.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Plenty of the goals there from the opening quarter. 6 goals to 4. It's Melbourne by 15 points. We had a 26-point swing in that term. The Dogs by 11 early. Melbourne by 15 points at quarter time. A new game high. Meanwhile, in the Q Clash, 15 minutes into the second term, the Brisbane Lions lead the Suns by 4 points. The thoughts of our analysts on Grandstand AFL, Mark McClure and Adam Ramanauskas.
The game's very predictable in the way it's being played. The Bulldogs are bringing extra up to the stoppage. Melbourne are holding their back 6. So what that's then allowing is either Brayshaw or Salem there to have no opponent. So in that quarter, Brayshaw had 8 possessions and Salem had, when I can find him on that screen,
he had 2.
He had only 2. So they've had 10 possessions between them, but Brayshaw was the particular one that was loose for a lot of that quarter. Now, I don't think the Bulldogs need to bring another up to the contest. I think their midfield are talented enough to go toe-to-toe against Melbourne's midfield and win that contest. Because what that allows, when they're going inside forward 50, so the Dogs have had 12 inside 50s in that quarter. But it was just occasions where the ball came out too easy, and Melbourne then were able to slingshot down the other end and score. The other issue for the Dogs at the moment is the centre bounce dominance, I think, by Melbourne. You know, I mentioned that quickly in the quarter, but Melbourne are coming out the front door, hitting a target inside 50 and able to score. So they just need to get their setup a lot better, the Dogs. And Melbourne really threw that through the middle of the ground. Just keep at it.
Contested possession, Sellers, 45 to 37. And Viney, Oliver and Petrarca have had 22 of those for Melbourne.
The middle of the ground.
That's the big thing. And the other thing for me is 9 shots to 4 on goal. That's a big hit when you think about that. 9 shots to 4. That's a hell of a lot of difference.
Second quarter action upon us. The second meeting of the season of last year's grand finalists, and it's the reigning premiers who lead it by 15 points. They've kicked the last 4 in the game. English and Jackson go at it. Jackson wins it down, gives it to Viney, another centre break, kicks to centre half forward. Harms wrestles Treloar for it, spills to Spargo. His hand pass reaches Petrarca. Sweeping hand pass to Langdon. Never broke stride. Hooks his kick to Fritsch. Could have had a shot from the pocket, decided to look back inboard and hits up Bailey Fritsch, 15 out, dead in front.
Another goal from a centre clearance. Another clearance out of the middle of the ground. More and share of the ball was fantastic there. The kick back to Bailey Fritsch from Langdon was brilliant. It's what you asked for.
Arguably the most famous number in the history of the Melbourne Football Club, the number 31 on his back, as Bailey Fritsch skips in. His left-footed drop punt is pure, and the sharpshooter's got a couple, and more of the same to start the second term. Melbourne with 5 in a row. They lead it by 21 points. 60 seconds travelled in the second term.
Now you have a listen to what are you thinking now, doggies? How are you standing up here now? First bounce, bang, they just bowl you away straight away again.
They've got to set up defensively for a period.
That's their problem. That's their problem. But they love to go forward. Their midfielders only go forward. They don't go back. So that's their big deal. So they're just getting it out too easy out of the centre bounce. Just clearancing, and all of a sudden you're in danger down there at the back half.
Even one of the wingers, you got to just get to the back of that contest.
I agree.
Like the wingers now, they just stand out and keep their width, but
Garcia could bop back.
Correct, they're just getting slaughtered out of the middle of the ground, the Dogs.
So it's that centre bounce clearance, 7 to 4 Melbourne's way.
But it's a scoring
out of it.
And immediately resulting in a goal there.
19 points to 0.
Back in the middle, English wins down the tap. Liberatore over the top of the footy. Petrarca's got him. Eventually released it, but Jackson got it for Melbourne.
Another one.
Hand pass Oliver, kicks towards the 50. In front, Dale couldn't take the mark. Viney sloops onto it. High contact and a Dogs free kick. And it's a lucky whistle because Melbourne are about to surge towards goal. It's coming back to Bailey Dale, who was taken high.
And we've got a high regard for the doggies midfield.
No doubt.
High regard, but they're getting flogged.
Yep.
So Dale has it at the top of the defensive 50. Kicks out to Treloar. He has it. At right half back on the Dock wing. New rolls for Treloar and Dunkley across half forward. Sends it towards Norton and Ugle. Hagan, Stephen May underneath. The pack is crashed and Stephen May emerges holding the footy.
13-1 this year when Stephen May's played a full game. Remarkable record. 3 of their 4 losses happened really without him being there. As he kicks short to Salem. Salem goes back to Tomlinson, and Tomlinson a dangerous one-on-one out to Sparrow. Wins the footy off the turf. Hand pass away to Langdon. He gives it back to Rivers. Under pressure. Kicks down the City wing. Underneath it's Dale. Can't complete the mark. Spargo bowled over and all of that. Hannon wins it back for the Dogs. Gives it to Dale. Hand pass away to West. Short kick to Libba, who marks between wing and half forward. Pulls his kick back into the corridor. Bailey Smith marks. He's got a runner riding shotgun in Karmas. Receives the handball. Kicks to Jamara. Gets a running start at it. Goes over his head. And Brayshaw's at the back again to mop it up. Kicks down the boundary line. Wants Oliver. Boundary umpire right on the spot. Says it's still in play. His hand pass reaches Fritsch. He's taken out the boundary throwing between wing and half forward for the Dogs. 21 points Melbourne's lead. 3.5 minutes played in the second term. And in the Q-Clash Clinchy, we're 21 minutes into the second quarter. Brisbane by 4.
Suns playing a bit better than they did last week against the Bombers. Thrown back in. English wins down the tap to Garcia. Straight in the face of Jordan. That would bring you to life. Bailey Smith tries to tap it around the boundary line. It pinballs off Heat and Viney. There's a few appeals as to whether it came off a boot, but I'm not sure anyone's really sure. So a boundary throw in.
Fair to say that would have hurt.
Oh, yeah.
It's an understatement of the night, I think.
Football in the face.
Got the strapping around the knee, heavily on the left there, and then a foot into the face. It's a funny way of following you around when you can be a little bit under duress. English tries to slap it forward. Here's Jordan again on cue for Melbourne. Hand pass to Salem, couldn't take it. Johannesson got it to Bailey Smith, kicks inside 50. Ugelhagen's there. He brings it down to Riley West, who from the top of the goal square does the rest. Plenty of encouragement for Jamara as he at least made a contest. And an important goal for the Dogs as the D's had stretched it out to 21. It's back to 15. 7-3-45 Melbourne to the Dogs, 5 straight 30. 4 minutes gone, second term on ABC Sport.
Yeah, look, a great opportunist goal there, but it's the pressure, it's the tackling. Johannesson just gets that little handball out. You know, Ugelhagen makes the contest, and then Riley West just a great crummer's goal. But he's made a career for himself, I think, now, Riley West, over the last little period of time. He's found a position and found a role in this team. I think a lot of people were questioning where he was, well, not where he was at necessarily, but where Luke Beveridge was going to give him a chance to shine. And he's given him the chance to shine as that sort of high half forward. He's been able to hit the scoreboard, do a really good job. I'm really, really happy for Riley West.
And it's a run of 5 consecutive Melbourne goals. Hurried kick forward by the Demons, and underneath it is Sparrow. Takes a superb mark. Has gone to swings a kick forward out of the ruck. Riley West played only 11 games in his first 3 seasons. He's played now 11 this year alone as Sparrow kicks to the hot spot. Harms passing through, can't rip it down. Spills to Hannon, hand pass to come as he kicks to half back. And here's McNeil.
But are we 6 minutes into this second quarter? Jack McRae's only had the 4 possessions for the game.
McNeil wide to Treloar, links up with Dale, who spears his kick along the boundary line, and Ugelhagen takes the mark in front of the interchange.
That's a long way to go to his automatic 30 each game.
Oh, it's rare that he's this quiet in a game.
So there's a few others too, with 1s and 2s.
Whether he's getting any close attention, Jamaro dances around May on the mark, but then kicks straight to Gorn. So for all his good work, the execution not quite as sharp. And that's Gorn. Can you believe he didn't take a mark against Geelong? He's going to get a 50-metre penalty here from Sergio Garcia not coming back on the mark, and he's going to pay the full toll. So Gorn will go from the back pocket into the middle of the ground. He's going to go laterally.
Why would go there?
Well, rather go forward. Seriously. The Bulldogs have everyone back in the defensive half. Wide to Tomlinson, the late inclusion. Looks up towards half forward, and Spargo takes the mark. Between wing and half forward for the D's.
The Doggies drop off at every mark. You notice that?
Spargo wanted to cut inboard, now looks boundary side, and Jackson on the lead, marks on his chest. 45 metres out in the right forward pocket. That was Silver's service delivery.
And you wonder how he gets that much space, Jackson, where Gorn goes wide, Tomlinson goes wide, so enough time for the Bulldogs to get back and set up the way they want, but you know, Jackson can still find a big hole inside Melbourne's forward 50.
He's had 5 disposals in the match for 5 hand passes. So this is going to get his first kick of the match from right on 50 out to the right. Luke Jackson comes in. It's not a bad effort, but it's right all the way. And a minor score. Melbourne by 16 points, 7 minutes gone. Second term.
What a role he played in last year's grand final. Luke Jackson helping turn the tide in the middle of the ground. And we know what happened after that. The D's with 16 of the last 17 goals in the game. Behind here, D's by 16. Treloar on kick-out duties, just goes on a run, gets all the way to the defensive 50. Now sends it down to Bruce on the wing. No mark. It'll spill the way of Liberatore. Dogs keep possession. Up over halfway. Hand pass to Waitman. Kicks to Norton. One-on-one with May. May edges him underneath the footy. May can't go back and pick it up. He's bowled over. Langdon lends a hand. Demons keep it. Neil Bullen. Hand pass to Petty. Sold him under all sorts of pressure. Ball comes out to Norton. Half forward, wide out for the Dogs. Gives it to Libba. Kicks to the hot spot. Jamara crashes the back. Trying to soccer it through. Jim McNeil, he just misses. Wrong side of the post and a minor score. Behind for the Dogs, their first of the night. 5-1 Melbourne, 7-4. 8.5 minutes played in the second term. Demons by 15 points.
Hibbert brings the Demons back into play. Kicks towards Gorn in the middle of the ground with English. English spoils it down, front and centre. Sparrow put his head down. Could have been taken high by Dunkley. Kicks it in the middle of the ground. Keats onto it. Off balance, just hacks it back to where he came. And Brayshaw takes the intercepting mark for Melbourne. Does that so well for the Demons.
Plays an interesting role, Brayshaw.
Out towards Jordan, who takes the mark at left half back. Out of contract at season's end, Angus Brayshaw. Jordan's kick towards Jackson. Gardner over the back, punches it towards the boundary. And it rolls out of play in front of Josh Dunkley.
Well, he plays a true sweeper's role.
Of course he does.
Yeah.
That's the role.
You look at last year, he played on a wing and did that so successfully, but Christian Saylor missed a large chunk of the first half of the season. He went back, and now they've just kept him there.
He's almost replaced Lever, though, as that interceptor. Yeah. He does that so
He's
well.
He's pretty good at it.
Boundary throw in. Gorn palms it down to Oliver. Through traffic, got a kick out. Spills to Dale. Just jams it on the boot. Back down the wing, dock side, and it bounces out of play right in front of the benches. Melbourne by 15 points. 10 played in the second. Meanwhile, the Gold Coast are in front in the Q clash. So Suns 7-3. Brisbane 6-8. That game they're a little in front of us. So they're approaching half-time up in Brisbane. Boundary throw in here. English over the back. Swats it down. Dunkley tackled immediately by Brayshaw. With the ball up again on the wing. Tees have kicked 5 of the last 6 goals in the game after the Bulldogs led it by 11 early. It's Melbourne at the moment by 15.
Tossed up, Gorn tried to win it down, but straight to Treloar of the Dogs. High kick towards half forward. English one direction, Hibbert the other. They cannon into each other. It's picked up by Jordan. Hand pass to Rivers. Under pressure to Hibbert. He turns and kicks long around the wing. Gorn's underneath it. Karmas with a big fist into the middle of the ground. Dunkley runs on it with pace. Can't get a clean disposal away. McNeil worked off it by Oliver. Dunkley has another go. He's taken in the back. And the Bulldogs will get the free kick on the wing. Demons by 15 points. Dale with 14, Smith with 11, Treloar with 10. Meanwhile, for the Demons, Oliver with 13, Viney with 12, and Brayshaw with 10. They retreat back to Karmas and then all the way back to Alex Keith, who has it on the defensive 50. Out to the City side where Richards can take the mark, and now up to centre wing, and Treloar has it.
Adam Treloar averaging 27.5 disposals a game. He's up to 11 so far tonight. His new role across half-back and in charge of the kick-outs. He goes long down to half-forward, just to a contest, and spills to Bontempelli. 55 out half-forward, hand pass to West. Racing along the boundary line, kicks for English, who's unmarked. He's got it top of the goal square and can have a set shot from about 12 metres out.
Good contest by Norton there. And Bontempelli he creates that space around him. It's good play. Really good play by the Dogs.
He's been the number 1 rated ruckman this year, Tim English, when he plays. He's played just 11 games. Drifting forward here, gets himself into a threatening position and finishes it off. Kicks it through post high. And the Dogs have a couple in a row. All of a sudden, Melbourne's lead cut to 9 points. The D's 7-4, the Western Bulldogs 6-1. Tim English with his first of the game. 12 travelled, second turn.
It's always dangerous when the ruckman travels up forward and he gets up in front of the goal sometimes. No one picks him up. No one's got hold of him. It was a very easy kick of the ball inside just outside the square. And English was absolutely on his own. No ruckman with him. Easy finish.
Dogs got that vital contract extension signature. So signed to 2024 despite the lure of the Western Australian clubs. And for Dog fans, they hope he's a big part of the future, Tim English.
And you can see him improving. His improvement has come, and we're seeing the finished product.
If I was to answer Rama's question, he might be the next All-Australian ruckman, but Max Gawn has probably done enough throughout the opening rounds of the season. Opening tap down the way of Viney, can't break clear as Bontempelli lays the tackle. Melbourne by 9 points. English and Gawn once more, this time Gawn decisively, but it's rowed beautifully by Bailey Smith. Kicks towards West, he's got 2 Demons there. Brayshaw brought it down, Liberatore runs onto it, kicks towards Waitman, up, can't take the mark. Hibbert spoils him, but chopped the arms. Michael Hibbert can't believe it. Cody Waitman was slow to rise. It was probably one of those 50-50 ones that it was technically there, but not a lot in it.
This puts him back in the game. Puts him right in the game.
Cody Waitman, 25 goals for the season. A chance to move the Bulldogs back within 3 points. In the left forward pocket, 20 metres out, 45-degree angle. Waitman comes in and bangs it through. All of a sudden, the Dogs have banged 3 on in quick succession. And they're right back in this match. Melbourne 7-4-46 to the Bulldogs 7-1-43. The Demons got out by 21 points, but it's back to a 3-point ball game.
Well, look, whether it's there or not, but it's Libba there, just beautiful off that contest, where he's able to crumb that ball. Oh, it's marginal. It's marginal against Hibbert, but look, Waitman's playing in front, so if you play in front enough, you're going to get enough free kicks in the game. I've liked this little surge from the Bulldogs. How they've been able to do it is through contest. They're starting to win the ball around the contest where Melbourne were really dominating in that first quarter.
So Demons 5 in a row either side at quarter time, and now the Dogs with the last 3. Demons by 3 points. Gone, great ruck craft, just hooks it down into space. Viney runs onto it, kicks it to the top of the goal square. Karmas can't complete the mark. Stolen by Fritsch, hooks through his third. A momentum shifter for the Demons. And Melbourne back up by 9 points midway through the second quarter. And it's another goal from the centre bounce. The Demons 8-4-52. The Western Bulldogs 7-1-43 midway through the second.
And that's his third.
Spoke too soon, Sellers.
No, we did. Well, not really. That was good to see the Dogs get back into the game. The movement of the ball. But the centre bounce clearance there again. I think they've got 3 from centre bounce clearances if we're talking about just 4. Clearly straight down. And that's a weapon and a half when you get hold of that. It breaks your heart. It comes straight through. So to me, Bailey Fritsch, that was a really good kick and a good finish. But the centre bounce clearance is the key.
10-4 out of there now.
And they're flogging them, I know.
Not sure Puku Karmas would want to watch that on the replay when he gets a chance to see it. He's playing a good role in defence, but you've got to take them. Back in the middle, Gawn gets the clearance for Melbourne. He's doing it all at the moment. Kicks towards half forward. Harms and Treloar. Harms worked him off. It gathered. Hand pass out to Langdon. He gathers a loose footy. Right on 50. High kick towards Wiedemann. Up, punched away from him. Front and centre, Petrarca can't gather. Pickett can. Hand pass to Fridge. To Sparrow. It's a raffle, and it ends with a goal. Plenty of hands involved. And it makes light work for the Demons. Back out by 15. 2 quick goals in 2 minutes. And in the end, Tom Sparrow was able to finish the work. 9-4-58 to the Bulldogs, 7-1-43. We played 16 minutes in the second term on ABC Sport.
It's just these little contests there. Treloar falls over, Harms keeps his feet, able to get there. This little handball out to Langdon. Great contest. Wiedemann in the contest. Just the little handballs by Melbourne, just terrific. Pickett was involved there. Viney was involved. It finally gets to Sparrow, who's able to kick that goal. But it's really Treloar falling over in that contest with Harms. Had to keep his feet.
So the Dogs within 3. Now all of a sudden back-to-back goals, 2 minutes for Melbourne. And the D's are back out by 15 points, just flexing their muscles. 17 minutes into the second term.
Here we go again.
Back in the middle, Harms just jams it on the boot to centre half forward. Richards out to meet it for the Dogs. Hand pass to Bailey Smith, who's all alone. Kicks out to the wing. Garcia and Brayshaw. They bang bodies. Ball slips out the back. Brayshaw looking for the safety of the boundary line. He's bowled over. The ball comes with him and a boundary throw in. 70 out from the Dogs' goal.
This is the thing with the Dogs. When you're not used to playing defensive through the middle of the ground, particularly through centre bounce, you can get exposed. And Melbourne are doing that again.
Half-time in Brisbane in the Q Clash. The Gold Coast lead it by a goal. 8-3 to 6-9 over Brisbane. Half-time there, Suns by 6 from the boundary throwing. Dunkley on the bottom of the pack. Pack forms around him. Umpire says, I'll have it. And the ball up still at high half forward for the Bulldogs. Here we're 18 minutes into the second term. Melbourne lead it by 15.
Jackson in the ruck, great vertical leap, wins down the tap against English. Harms trying to knock it clear. Treloar for the Western Bulldogs, hand pass to Bontempelli. Riley West up with the early rise, but can't come down. He gave away the free kick, although Hibbert took the mark at the last line. Kicks to Neil Bullen, still inside the defensive 50. He's got Pickett wide and wants to go more direct than that. Straight up the outer wing to Melcham. He looks up towards half forward and Fritsch has space. He marks in front of Karmas. This is beautiful transition. Kicks for Jackson. He's got the mismatch and takes them up, pushing back inside the attacking 50 with Bailey Smith in his trail.
Doesn't get any better than that with the foot skills, does it? Pretty difficult.
Well, I'm watching Tim English because that ball up was on the Bulldogs' half forward flank. Went inside forward 50 for the Dogs. Come back out the other side, but Jackson left him for dead with the run.
Speed.
A goal in 4 of his last 5 games for Luke Jackson. How good could he be? Here he is directly in front, 30 metres out, puts through his opening goal of the match. And the Demons all of a sudden have put on 3 goals in quick succession to extend it to a 21-point lead. 10-4-64 to the Bulldogs, 7-1-43. 19 minutes gone, second term on ABC Sport with Adam Ramanauskas and Mark McClure.
Well, you can see exactly what the Demons are doing. They were in trouble. They were down. They got 3 goals kicked against them, and they've got banged on 4 in about 5 minutes, or 6 minutes or something like that, and away they go. The movement of the ball from back to forward was just slick, as you can see. And Jackson was on his own in the middle of the ground, got hit hard, easy goal. It's you can just see the difference of how they move the ball and their centre bounce clearance and their confidence in each other.
Jeez, now they're going with Josh Bruce in the ruck.
Yeah, he hasn't touched it. It's about time he gets his hand somewhere near it.
He's had 1 handball.
Exactly right.
Johannessen's also had only 1 handball.
Jackson jumped over the top of him.
D's by 21. Jackson puts it into the path that Petrarca runs into the opposite number 5 in Dunkley. Pack forms behind the pair and we'll have a ball up again.
He still hasn't touched it, Bruce.
Oliver's had 13 touches for the 9. He's returned from that fractured thumb. Melbourne playing their first game under Simon Goodwin last week without Clay Oliver in the team. There's a little kick forward from the Demons from Oliver, and underneath it is Pickett. Crowd trying to appeal for holding the ball, not forthcoming as Richards and Bruce lock him up, and we'll have another stoppage in the centre square. And throw a blanket over around 20 players here as the umpire chucks it up in the air. Jackson knocks it down. Oliver, Viney, in fact, on the bottom of the pack, got it out to Langdon. He links up with Salem, kicks to centre half forward for the Demons. They all miss it. Bounces through to Fritsch. Fritsch again, hurriedly snaps goalward, and he's got 4 before the half. And Melbourne make it 4 in a row. They're on another run, and they're out to a new game high. The reigning premiers by 27 points, 11-4 over the Western Bulldogs, who are 7-1. Time on second term.
This is the problem, sellers, for Buku Kamath. When you want to play as an interceptor, but then you're playing on a dangerous forward, you've actually got to, at times, play on him. Now, 3 direct goals for Fritsch has come through Kamath just not being with him or dropping a mark and the like. You watch that one there, the ball goes in deep, there's a contest. Kamath he's in 2 minds. Does he go? Does he stay with so he's going over to the contest, he waits, then he's flat-footed, Fritsch keeps going to the contest, kicks the goal. So that's the gamble for Luke Beveridge, putting an interceptor on Bailey Fritsch. He's kicked 4 now.
You've got to put him on the weakest player.
And another clearance, Jackson down to Petrarca. Oliver almost was through and then got brought down. A chance for Dunkley for the Dogs. Dribbles a kick end over end towards Bailey Smith. Brought down by Brayshaw. Hand pass to McRae. Out to Dunkley. He's got lost between his bootlaces. Eventually does gather as he's cannonaded by Neil Bullen. Hand pass back to Hannon. From the wing to half forward. West competes against Brayshaw. It clears to the back. Sliding in McNeil. Wanted it the most. Viney just ripped it from him. Takes it back for Melbourne. Their spiritual leader. Gives it to Jordan and up to Gawn. He takes the mark at left half back for Melbourne. They're just starting to click through the gears, the Demons.
That pinch by Viney was absolutely fantastic.
Having kicked 4 goals in 6 minutes. Gone long towards half forward. The pack forms. Bruce brings it down. Viney read it beautifully. He runs to 50. Only Richards is there. Cossey's trying to make up ground. And Ed Richards eventually juggles the mark. 15 metres out from his defensive goal.
Kicks to centre half back for Dunkley, who takes the mark. He looks in the centre square and finds McRae. And Jack McRae, just his 5th possession so far, averages 31 a game for the season. He comes all the way out wide to Hannon. So the trainer's out there with Alex Keith for a moment. We'll get Lauren Borden on the boundary to keep an eye on all of that. He's pushed them away, but still holding his neck, it looks like, as Hannon chips short to Bailey Smith. He's run around in a
that's a good spot.
Bit of space tonight.
That'd be good out there.
15 touches. Smith, he goes all the way back to centre half back. This is Gardner. Goes on a little bit of a run. Kicks down to Waitman at half forward. Leaping forward. Can't complete the mark. In fact, the mark's been paid to Brayshaw.
He's had a great game, Brayshaw. Seriously. And that's a poor kick.
No, commentator's curse, Sellers, right on cue. Turns it over. Hits up Dunkley for the Bulldogs in the centre square. Hand pass away to Libber. To West. He shoots it out wide to Smith.
Smith looks at options inside 50. Ugle-Hagan in front, can't take the mark. Waitman, quick as a flash, jams it on the boot and kicks his second. Something out of nothing for the Dogs, and the live wire is able to deliver for the Doggies just when they need it most. Melbourne have got out by 27 points, having kicked 4 quick goals in succession. And a much-needed goal for the Dogs pulls it back to a 21-point ball game. The Demons 11-4-70 to the Bulldogs 8-1-49. We played 24 minutes in the second term on ABC Sport. Down to Lauren Borden on the boundary.
So Keith did cop a knock to the back of his neck, which was pretty sore. Waved the doctors away while the play was still near him, but he just signalled he was coming off, has gone straight down into the rooms with the doctor.
You give the Dogs a chance, and you give their small forwards a chance. And Waitman's been pretty lively all year. If you make a mistake, you get hurt, and that's exactly what happened there. The kick out of the back half, and bang, comes right back in. Cody Waitman on the end.
Both his goals coming in this second quarter. It's been a big quarter for scoring, 5 goals to 4.
Yeah, it's a big day.
The Demons' way, and all of a sudden it's Melbourne by 21. Back in the middle, Oliver got it out to Gawn, hand pass to Jordan on the wing, he's mowed down. Heavy tackle from Garcia, ball comes out the Dogs' way. Bont got a hand pass away to McRae, gives it to Garcia, kicks into oncoming traffic, and Rivers smothers and then knocks it to Jordan. His kick out wide to Spargo. And again, Melbourne using the full width of the ground as Spargo stands almost right on the boundary line. He'll just poke his pass further afield to Jordan, who's up in the front half for Melbourne.
Dogs will push numbers back behind the ball. Jordan sends it long towards Jackson. Fritsch is in the pack as well. It's spoiled down. Petrarca crumbs it beautifully. Hand pass back to Melcham. He just ran out of room as Gardner slaps it over the boundary line for a boundary throw-in. Left forward popper for the Demons, 20 metres around from their goal. Melbourne by 21 points.
Geez, that was great concentration by Trent Rivers. Smothered that ball by Garcia. Otherwise, it would have been a certain shot at goal for the Dogs.
Thrown back into play. Jackson won it down, but straight to McRae of the Dogs. Kicks towards half-back. Salem underneath it. Ugelhagen tries to knock it clear. Garcia swoops onto it. Hand pass to Dunkley. Kicks up straight in the air on the fat part of the putty. Petty's underneath, and he takes them up, plunging it to his chest. And he has it in front of the 2 benches. Melbourne by 21.
Missed last week in the COVID protocols. Harrison Petty is back out there tonight for the Demons. Goes all the way back to Tomlinson. Marks at centre half back. Short kick to Brayshaw. Brayshaw out wide to Harms. Hung in the air too long. Richards puts his fist through it. Down to Johannesson. Hand pass back to Richards. Links up with Bontempelli just forward of the wing. Kicks inside the forward 50. Running back after it. Tomlinson and Norton. Tomlinson wants the boundary line. Got a bailout option. Hand pass to Hibberd. Runs out of room. He gives it to Brayshaw, who fumbles. Still inside the field of play. And in the end, Hibberd takes it out. A boundary throw in forward pocket for the Bulldogs. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
So Keith didn't stay in the rooms long at all. He's come back out, been given some painkillers on the bench, and he looks set to go back on, so he's been given the all clear.
Thanks, Lauren. 9 goals in this second quarter, in which Melbourne have kicked 5 to the Bulldogs 4. Having led by 15, it's the Demons by 21. Jackson and English tap down to the front. Johannesson can't pick it up. Sparrow with a hand pass back to Tomlinson in the back pocket, kicks up towards Harms, brought it down, but Richards pinches it for the Dogs. Hand pass to McRae, to a stationary Bailey Smith, veers back to his right, ran into Harms, he retreats back by hand to Gardner, off balance, he kicks around his body, inside 50, a high ball, it clears May, Brayshaw tries to slap it forward to the advantage of Petrarca, back to Jordan, so composed in defence, works it to Spargo, he can go back to Brayshaw, the swooper goes short and Jordan has it at left half back and the D's are out of defence.
So Jordan is just going to kick hurriedly down the wing, trying to climb from the back. Melcham hits the ground hard. It spills down to Fritsch.
That's a throw. They called that a throw from Fritsch. He just palmed it to him.
There you go.
That's probably right.
Free kick for Williams. He kicks down to Norton as May put his hand on the shoulder of Norton, went flying over the top, didn't make contact with the footy. Free kick for Norton, 70 out and half forward. Melbourne by 21 points. Deep into time on in this second term. Norton again with a headband tonight as he just chips it into the forward pocket and flying over the top. West at the back. Hibberd takes the intercept mark for Melbourne.
That's the problem. Like, you shouldn't go inside forward 50 and kick it to Riley West.
In a 2-on-1.
Can't believe
in
it.
a 2-on-1 contest.
No, you're right there.
Hibbert out to a contest at half-back. It clears everyone. Lands in the lap of Fritsch. Hand pass back inboard to Jackson. They're on through the middle. Petrarca links up with Harms. Can kick inside the forward 50. Melksham's running back downhill. He'll get onto it in the pocket. Close down by Treloar. Is his hand pass stay alive? It's through for a minor score. The boundary umpire was nowhere near the scene after the quick turnover, and in the end it'll be a minor score off the handball from Melksham. It extends Melbourne's advantage by 1. They're up by 22 approaching half-time.
Dogs quickly bring it back into play as Richards and Treloar combine. Richards now up to the wing. Bontempelli there. Salem spoils it down. Dale gathers for the Western Bulldogs. Hand pass to McRae. Starting to get more involved. Into the middle of the ground for Dunkley. Links up again to McRae. Gets to half forward. Kicks down low for Ugelhagen. Sliding on his knees. He takes the mark. In front of Hibbert. 40 metres out, directly in front.
That's not a big day, McRae, but that was a couple of good kicks there.
Yeah, and it's good. It's good transition.
Yeah,
I think by the Dogs. He's just got to go back now and kick this, Ugelhagen. Just take his time.
He's presented well.
Yeah, he has
in this second quarter.
He's competed well,
but he's only had the 2 touches for the game. So this is an important kick, both for the team and for his own confidence. Jamara Ugelhagen inside 50, liked at the moment it hit his boot. Arm up in celebration. And the number 1 draft pick of 2020 is on the board. And the Bulldogs scrap a couple of goals in succession to pull it back to a 16-point lead Melbourne's way. 11-5-71 to the Dogs, 9-1-55. Half an hour gone, second term on ABC Sport.
Guess they've kicked some goals in sport, haven't they?
Well, what have we got? 20 goals. 20 goals for the half. So
yeah, I know.
It's been really attacking football by both teams, and
well, it's entertaining. That's what we need.
Yeah, we love it. We love goals. No one's going to complain about that.
Just the third time last week, Jamara Ugelhagen in his 16-game career had kicked multiple goals. You can make that 4 in 17 now.
You know what I liked about him? He went to the ball carrier.
Correct.
He went straight to the ball carrier, and they hit you all the time.
Kicked 3 against the Saints. He's got 2 in the first half here against the reigning premiers. Melbourne by 16. Back in the middle. Gawn palms it down. Oliver trying to bounce it to his own advantage. Spills to Sparrow. Takes on the tackler. Trying to get a hand pass back to Oliver. McRae moves him off it. Links up with Smith. Kicks out of the centre square. Deep to Norton in a one-on-one. No mark. Falls down underneath Hibbert. Hibbert still tracking the foot. He falls over. Petty overruns it. Brayshaw hand pass missed May.
No, that's a throw.
Ends up over the boundary line. Not enough momentum on the fist there.
Oh, there's about
the 20 throw.
There'd be 30 throws a game, so don't worry about it.
Boundary throw in forward pocket for the Doggies. Tough time in the Q clash. Suns by 6 points over Brisbane.
Oh.
Here it's Melbourne by 16 over the Bulldogs. Approaching halftime here as well. Gawn for the boundary throw in, wins it down. Petty again went without it. Oliver gives it back to him. Petty jams it on the boot, turns it over. Dale with the intercept mark. So the man on the mark would be about 52 out. Pickett decides not to stand it. Bailey Dale tries to go over the top of him. He kicks a cannon, but it's offline. The wrong side of the goalpost and a minor score. Doggies move to 9-2. Melbourne are 11-5, so 32 minutes travelled in this second quarter. D's by 15.
5-2 apiece for all the damage that has been done. Hibbert out of defence for the Demons. English takes the intercepting mark. Has it at right half forward. We might not be done with yet. Hand pass to Bailey Smith. Screws it back inside 50. No one's there. And Sparrow takes the mark for the Demons. Kicks back and laterally towards the right back pocket for Langdon. He looks up to Spargo. Kicked it over his head. Richards takes the intercepting mark. Hand passes inboard to Joe Haddison. 50 out from home. He puts it towards the teeth of goal. Ugelhagen sets himself. Can't take the mark. And it spills over the back to Brayshaw as the siren sounds for half-time. Good contest in the second term. And Melbourne having led by 15 points at quarter time. Led by 15 at half-time. And yet that's only telling half the story of that second quarter in which both teams kicked 5 goals apiece. At one stage, Melbourne got out by 27 points before the last couple of goals the way of the Dogs to close it back to a 15-point ball game. Melbourne 11-5-71 to the Dogs 9-2-56. For the Demons, 4 goals to Bailey Fritsch, including 3 in that second quarter. That matchup against Buku Kamas might need a look at. A couple to Sam Wiedemann. Individuals to Jackson, Melksham, Neil Bullen, Sparrow and Pickett. Meanwhile, for the Dogs, 2 to Ugelhagen and 2 to Waitman. Individuals to English, Garcia, Norton and West alongside Marcus Bontempelli. The Demons by 15 points at the main break.
What do you think, Mark McClure, Adam Ramanauskas, half-time here at Docklands?
I thought the Doggies had a great quarter. Seriously, I thought that was a really good comeback from them. They kicked 5 goals to the quarter. I think both sides kicked 5 goals to the quarter. I love the actual quarter itself. It was a contest back and forth, and we saw some really good footy. This game has produced 20 goals for 2 quarters. How many games we've been to that's done that so far? So the crowds get excited and they're moving the ball well. But the D's still have some armour up there that they can just hang on and work on in this game. I just got a little feeling that the D's are a little bit stronger, and the Doggies got to win more midfield stuff. They had a really good quarter. I thought they were much better with their disposal work. They were much better with the way they moved the ball forward, and they scored. They scored really well. So to me, I can't wait to see the rest of the game. Second half of the game will be fantastic.
Well, the reality of this game right now is 5 of Melbourne's 11 goals have come directly out of the centre square. And the Bulldogs haven't scored. They haven't troubled the scorers. So it's a big discrepancy in there. It's 13-6 in there, and Melbourne have then had 6 scoring shots. So I think they've got to go with a sweeper that just stands there. I said this in that second quarter. The problem with the Bulldogs midfielders is because they're so attacking.
I know.
They're so used to winning the ball themselves. They're so used to racking up the numbers. Then when a team actually gets on top of them through a particular facet of the middle of the ground, they don't know how to respond to it.
But that's obviously a coaching thing, that they want to have chaos through the middle of the ground, and that's how they play. Now they need to knuckle down, is what you're saying.
Absolutely, they have to, because 5 goals won to 0.
That's a lot.
That's the difference in the game right now. That's what we're talking about. If you take that away, the Bulldogs probably in general play have had their moments. They've had their moments where they've looked really good. Their transition's been really good. The other part I think that the Bulldogs really have to tidy up in this second half is what to do with Bailey Fridge. The Buku Khamis matchup is simply not working. You've got to go to someone else. I think it's a Bailey Williams that should go to him. Give him the respect. Put Khamis somewhere else where he can impact the contest. Come in and fly for his marks. But you take away centre bounce, you take away Bailey Fridge, and it's a different ball game.
Feels a little bit tonight like... Sorry, Quincy, you want to jump in?
I was just going to add to Rama's point. You would have thought it's sort of Clayton Oliver, Christian Petrarca, who's getting the centre bounce clearances. It's Jack Viney.
Yeah.
So Jack Viney's got 5 of Melbourne's 13. And as you touched on, Rama, 5 goals from those centre bounce clearances of the 13 Melbourne have had. The Bulldogs have scrapped well, 9 goals from their 26 inside 50s, and they closed the quarter well. But it's odd to be beaten by what you would know that was such a strength for Melbourne in the grand final.
It's just... I think 2's enough. I think 2 and alarm bells are in. But 5.5, like, alarm bells have to be going off in the coach's box to say, we've got to change something here. Yeah. We're simply, let them win the stoppage out the back so they can't take it forward so quickly. I don't know. Look, we're up here. We're sitting so high up here. The game looks easy. Down there, I know we all know how hard the game is to play, but... yeah, if it happens to you twice, usually you're changing something pretty quickly.
And the unusual quirk is the last time they met, the Dogs won centre bounce clearances 19-8, which was round 1 in this year, which they didn't have Tom Liberatore in the middle that night. They were trialling him along a half-forward flank, and yet tonight it's been one-way traffic in Melbourne's favour.
So they're 23 at 9, 19 out of the middle, out of the clearance area. So and their contested ball is still stronger.
Does it feel a little bit like Melbourne's season in a nutshell tonight, that they just flex when they have to? It feels like they almost play within themselves, and you see little glimpses where you think, wow, that's the best team in it, but then they also look equally as vulnerable at moments. It sort of feels a little bit like that the first half has been what we've seen from them all year.
Look, they're not going to play a perfect game, but you want to see them sustain that excellence for longer, I think is what we're all hoping and asking for, because we know their best is absolutely good enough. We know that, but we just it hasn't been displayed for long enough this year, I don't think. Even when they won 10 in a row to start the game, they admitted it. They were only going at 70 or 75%, they thought.
Yeah.
And then the next little period of time, will they get picked off by a couple of teams?
It's actually interesting when you get challenged. to see what you can actually do.
Well, that's
this
the
is
thing,
the big
isn't it?
deal for them. Now they're coming at half time. They were 20 points in front. It's not a terrible lead. It's a good lead at this stage against a reasonable side. But the way they've got it is just only through centre bounce. They need to score other ways as well. So they need to do that. But I think they've got to practice to be perfect. That's the more things you have to do. So it's all about your behaviour and how you work with each other and all those sorts of things. So to me, I think they're still the number one seed.
The frustrating for Dogs fans is their midfield is their strength. So it's not like they've been beaten by another area of the ground. They are being beaten at one of their absolute strengths where they've got all their best players available.
Yeah, and their defence is okay, and their forward line's okay.
The question is, what do you change in there? Do you throw a Riley West in there to play more of a defensive role? You know, you look at it and you go Bailey Smith, ultra attacking. Dunkley, yeah, probably 50-50. McRae attacking, Bontempelli attacking. Libba, for as in and under he is, he's still an attacking player. He's not really your defensive stopper in there. Other than that, like you look down the list of players, you know, maybe Riley Garcia is another one they could throw in there as a bit of a different look. But other than that, there's not many options.
What about talk to them and say, hey, listen, can you pick up someone?
Well, that'd
be a nice idea, wouldn't it?
Otherwise, we'll change you over like they do in ice hockey. Next lineup in.
I agree with that.
We'll give you the flick.
I think they've been doing it for so long.
And getting away with it.
Yes, unfortunately, it's been their MO, hasn't it? Their path to victory so often is through the midfield, and when it's not up and about, they don't win too many games, the Dogs. At halftime, they're chasing the match. They're 15 points down. It's Melbourne 11-5-71 over the Dogs 9-56. It's been an unusual game. The Dogs led by 11 early. Melbourne kicked 5 in a row to lead by 21 points. That was early in the second term. And then the Dogs drew back within 3 before Melbourne had it out to a game-high 27, and the Dogs kicking the last 2 of that first half to bring it back to 15 points at half-time.
The Gold Coast are 2 goals up.
12 points they lead by 5 minutes into the third term. So
how good's that?
Suns 10-3, Brisbane 7-9. We'll keep you updated with what's happening up in Brisbane. Half-time here at Docklands, the reigning premiers by 15 on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital. We've got the second half action around the corner, but first, the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. The former Home Affairs Minister Karen Andrews has defended her role in directing Border Force to publicly reveal the interception of suspected asylum seeker boat on Election Day. Political reporter Henry Bello has the details.
Federal Labor was infuriated by the Election Day disclosure and ordered the Home Affairs Department to conduct a formal review. That report found senior public servants refused to publicise the operation while it was still ongoing and then declined to send a statement to select journalists. Former Home Affairs Minister Karen Andrews says no rules were broken.
There was no breach of caretaker conventions.
And she made it clear who wanted the interception made public.
I was asked by the Prime Minister.
The current Home Affairs Minister, Claire O'Neill, has described the Election Day episode as disgraceful and shameful.
Victoria's recorded another 44 COVID deaths, one of the highest daily figures since the start of the pandemic. Here's Stephanie Ferrier.
The Health Department says the 44 deaths do include some historic cases. It's the highest figure since 59 deaths were reported back in early September 2020. New case numbers have fallen to just over 10,800, meaning there are now almost 71,500 active infections across the state. The number of people in hospital with COVID-19 is also down to 820, with 29 people in intensive care and 6 of those needing a ventilator to breathe.
The former US President Donald Trump has yet again voiced his debunked claims that he won the 2020 US presidential election. With campaigning for November's midterm elections gathering momentum, Mr. Trump and his former Vice President Mike Pence have spoken at separate rallies in the state of Arizona, supporting rival Republican candidates seeking the position of state governor. The candidate backed by Mr. Trump upholds his false claims of fraud in the 2020 election.
I ran twice, I won twice, and did much better the second time than I did the first, getting millions more votes in 2020 than we got in 2016. And likewise getting more votes than any sitting president in the history of our country by far.
The International Red Cross says a deal between Ukraine and Russia to allow grain exports out of Black Sea ports is nothing short of life-saving. It's being welcomed around the world as a major step in alleviating hunger for people in hundreds of countries, with the United Nations calling it a beacon of hope. Here's the BBC's Paul Adams.
It's not just about getting rid of this backlog of last winter's harvest. It's also about making sure that the scene is set for the incoming harvest, which started about a month or so ago and is already starting to be stored and will need to be shipped as well. So I think it'll take a few weeks before this process really starts to unfold. Ukraine is looking forward to a much-needed injection of foreign capital as a result of their ability to sell grain on the international market, and it believes that will be a vital boost not only to its economy but also to its war effort.
Queensland Police and the SES have been searching bushland around the Harvey Bay Botanical Gardens today for a 23-year-old who's missing, Dylan Dreesens, who disappeared from the area about a month ago. Kelsey Lee Barber has become the first Australian since Kathy Freeman to defend her crown at the Athletics World Championships in the United States. The 30-year-old javelin competitor produced a throw of 66.91 metres to secure the gold medal in the state of Oregon. Freeman achieved the same feat in running, going back-to-back in 1999. Barber's husband and coach Mike says he sensed something special was coming from her today.
Well, the minute she started warming up today, she meant business. Like she, got into the comp at 62.5, went 62.90, and I just had this feeling that the big throw was going to come sooner rather than later. She just had a really good sense of what she needed to do.
ABC News. Get more news at any time. Just download the ABC Listen app.
New from ABC Events.
Live comedy's back on the menu in 2022 as Britain's best tour Australia.
Oh, look at me making dreams come true.
Get your funny pics with Bill Bailey.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. It really is.
Sandy Toxvig.
Better a sweater from a dog you know and love than from a sheep you'll never meet.
And Alan Carr.
Did Adele sing at your wedding?
Plus Nish Kumar and Rob Beckett. For details, visit abc.net.au/ABC events.
If you love sport, we've got the podcast for you. ABC Sport Daily, it's your daily sports conversation.
It's pretty exciting to have, world champion next to my name. I still can't get over that.
Rugby league is probably his main passion. He loves the Melbourne Storm. He loves Josh Addo-Carr.
He would have been disappointed and thought, one got away, but this one, he just took by the hands and he wanted it more than anybody in the field.
ABC Sport Daily. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Jackson wins it down, gives it to Viney, another centre break, kicks to centre half forward. Harms wrestles Treloar for it, spills to Spargo. His hand pass reaches Petrarca, sweeping hand pass to Langdon. Never broke stride, hooks his kick to Fritsch. 31 on his back as Bailey Fritsch skips in. His left-footed drop punt is pure.
Johannesson got it to Bailey Smith, kicks inside 50. Ugelhagen's there, he brings it down to Riley West, who from the top of the goal square does the rest.
Spills to Bontempelli, 55 out half forward, hand pass to West, racing along the boundary line, kicks for English, who's unmarked. Drifting forward here, gets himself into a threatening position and finishes it off.
That's right, beautifully by Bailey Smith. Kicks towards West, he's got two demons there. Brayshaw brought it down, Liberatore runs onto it, kicks towards Waitman, can't take the mark. Hibbert spoils him, but chop the arms. Cody Waitman in the left forward pocket, 20 metres out, 45-degree angle. Waitman comes in and bangs it through. All of a sudden, the Dogs have banged three on in quick succession.
Gone, great ruck craft, just hooks it down into space. Viney runs onto it, kicks it to the top of the goal square. Karmas can't complete the mark. Stolen by Fritsch, hooks through his third.
Hibbert took the mark in the last line. Kicks to Neil Bullen, still inside the defensive 50. He's got Pickett wide and wants to go more direct than that. Straight up the outer wing to Melcham. He looks up towards half forward and Fritsch has space. He marks in front of Karmas. This beautiful transition. Kicks for Jackson. He's got the mismatch. And takes the mark, pushing back inside the attacking 50.
Doesn't get any better than that with the foot skills.
Goal in 4 of his last 5 games for Luke Jackson. How good could he be? Here he is directly in front. 30 metres out. puts through his opening goal of the match.
Fine, in fact, on the bottom of the pack, got it out to Langdon. He links up with Salem, kicks to centre half forward for the Demons. They all miss it. Bounces through to Fritsch. Fritsch again, hurriedly snaps goalward, and he's got 4 before the half.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Fascinating day, round 19 of the AFL Premiership season. So the two grand finalists going at it here at Docklands. It's Melbourne by 15 points at half-time. Meanwhile, in the Q Clash, 13 minutes into the third quarter, the Gold Coast Suns lead Brisbane by 5. Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clinch, Lauren Borden on boundary, Mark McClure and Adam Ramanaskas. The game in the twilight, Geelong had to kick the last 2 goals of the game to pull it out of the fire against Port Adelaide. Cats winning by 12 points. Tom Hawkins caught up with Jack Paquetta as part of our Grandstand AFL team post-game.
Well, Tom Hawkins, thanks for joining us on Grandstand AFL. Huge result there in the end. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling exhausted, to be honest. Happy but exhausted. It's a great result for us as a footy club. Obviously, we played some really good footy there in the first half, particularly the second quarter. But I think externally, from our point of view, we really think Port Adelaide are a great side. When they get their game humming, they can be hard to beat, particularly here. So a really pleasing result for us. In one of our favourite teammates, Jack Henry, played his 100th game, so that was an important milestone for us to win for.
Port Adelaide did have a 41-point turnaround in that third term. What was said at that final break to really halt that momentum?
I thought, first and foremost, they were excellent around the footy. They kicked goals, and we just couldn't get our hands on the footy and take control. We didn't do anything different with the way we played. We still wanted to be aggressive, and I think that's been the theme of the way we've played throughout the whole year, was just continue to be aggressive and sort of understand what they do well, but play our way. And we know, we feel internally that we're a great finishing side. As I said, it was a great result for us.
And 4 goals for yourself tonight, including those 2 big ones at the very end. What was going through your mind?
Oh, well, it was sort of pretty regulation, the first one in the left foot snap. Flushed that one, and then actually the late, I was trying to take as much as the clock as I could, and obviously it's been quite contentious, so I was wary that I didn't want to go right up to my 30, but I knew I also had a couple of short options inside 50 that I could have used as well to take more time, but in the end they got taken up and went back and kicked it, so flushed that one. They don't always come off that well, but it was great result.
That's 9 wins in a row now. Just what is the feeling like amongst the group?
Oh, I think obviously people listening on their radios aren't going to be able to witness what's happening here, but I think internally we're just executing really well as individuals. I think the coaches have been outstanding. We've been supported by wonderful people at our footy club, but from a playing point of view, we understand what we need to do each week. We're not after players to star each week. We've got players that can do that, but we just want everyone to execute their role and execute the fundamentals, which I think we're doing.
So that was Tom Hawkins a short time ago catching up with Jack Paquetta on Grandstand AFL. The Cats home by 12 points over Port Adelaide. Sellers, some sad news out of the footy world. Collingwood Team of the Century member, 2-time best and fairest winner, All-Australian Billy Pickens, sadly passing away today.
Yeah, it's a very sad day, and for me, and especially for me. I played on him every time we played against Collingwood, and loved him. We had a great respect for each other, although we'd punch on every now and then and do all those silly things.
Every now and again?
Every time we could probably get near each other. And every now and then we'd go for a beer together after the game, and I love Billy. And it's not just a loss for Collingwood people. I think it's a loss for most people who follow football. Yeah. Anyone who follows football, he's passed with a heart attack, and I feel for his family and all those sorts of things. He was a terrific man. Everything was about fun. He'd call the game while we were playing. I'm going to take this mark over the top of you. You go, hello. And he did, which is, I loved him. I thought he was great. And it's a big loss to the football world.
My mum's all-time favourite player.
Varley,
Collingwood supporter, loved him.
To Billy Picken, and the thoughts with the Picken family. Also to Con Britt, so played 110 games, also passing away in the last 24 hours. So a particularly sad time for the Collingwood Football Club. The second meeting of last year's grand finalists, second half action underway. The reigning premiers by 15.
Gawn went down the opening tap to Petrarca, but it comes away McRae, so the Bogs set the clearance. High kick towards half forward. Dunkley spoils it down. Still a chance for the Demons. Brayshaw onto it. Kicks hand over end out to the wing. Cozzy Pickett hit it with speed. Gathers for the Demons. Kicks towards Wiedemann at 50. Garcia. And Gardner worked him underneath, and Gardner did well to take the mark at half back. Kicks out to the left back pocket where Richards takes the mark. Looks up, not a lot in front of him, so pulls his kick to Keith, who tumbling forward did enough just to reclaim the mark.
Did he pay it?
He did pay it.
Okay.
It was awkward and unbalanced, but was able to eventually take the mark. Probably won't do the neck too much good. He takes it at left half back for the Doggies. Comes back inside the defensive 55, put to Richards. He can switch play again if he wants. Back to Gardner in the right back pocket. He looks up. Dale now. That option's run out, so has to go more direct to Hannon down low. Sliding in, he takes the mark. That might have been a little half volley. He got away with one there.
So he's able to send it down the city wing. The kick goes out wide to Dunkley, who takes the mark. 15 points, Melbourne's lead. Dogs in a slow play as Dunkley just floats his kick down to half forward, and Salem stands in the hole, takes the intercept mark for Melbourne. It's a away game, so prominently in the navy jumpers today with the red V and white shorts. Yellow Sharon being used, of course, here at Docklands as Salem goes short to May, back to Salem. And Dogs home game, so prominently in the royal blue with the red and white hoop around the middle of the jumper and the blue shorts. Salem just bangs it long to a contest on the wing. Gawn's involved. Richards punches it away. Down to Petrarca, though. The Demons. Hand pass to Langdon. Feeds it forward in front of Viney. Drops to his knees. Gives it away by hand to Harms. He hand passes to Pickett, who's out of play. And a boundary throw in 60 metres out for the Melbourne goal. It is the D's by 15 points. Meanwhile, in the Q clash, we've had a couple of lead changes in the third term. Brisbane were up by 1 and now a goal to the Suns. So Gold Coast by 5. 19 minutes played in the third term.
Toss back into play. Gawn sets himself in front of English. Gawn's able to take it out of the ruck and work it forward. A chance for Harms. He gets a hand pass back, but no one was there. Swooping onto it as Williams for the Dogs. Kicks long towards half forward. Norton's there, but May in front couldn't take the mark. Waitman got a crucial touch onto it. Trying to knock it to Neil Bullen. May, he can't gather, and now Treloar's over the footy. Umpire circles, he's going to play holding the ball here.
He is.
Sure, it's true that Treloar had all the footy.
Yeah, but you're supposed to get rid of it.
Neil Bullen takes the free kick with a hand pass to Salem.
Salem can kick inside the forward 50. Cozzy Pickett and a tangle with Keith, and English drops in front of both to take the intercept mark for the Dogs. And goes out wide with the kick to Dunkley. Melbourne by 15. Had a high scoring game so far with 10 goals in each of the first and second quarters. Back to Richards and the switch is on. Out to Gardner, kicks down the broadcast wing. Treloar takes the mark. He wants to go. Closed down by Harms. Gets a kick away as he's been tackled. It'll bounce once before reaching Norton. Can't pick it up clean. Spills to Tomlinson. Hand pass to Salem. Works his way through traffic and gives it to Jordan.
Looks up to French. He takes the mark on the lead in front of Treloar. Quick as a flash, claimed it at its highest point. Kicks towards Wiedemann, a little shove on Gardner. Worked him underneath, got away with him, and got one in the pocket. It's Melcham. He's taken high by Keith, who immediately puts his hands up to apologise, and you know that's what it's going to result in. Jake Melcham taken high late, and he'll be marched to the goal line. And a chance for him to put through his second. And the first of the second half through the opening 4 minutes.
I don't mind him making contact. You've got to have a go. You've got to try your best, but you are going to get a 50-metre penalty, and that's what you get.
He's had the surgery on the hand, but here he is from point-blank range. And Jake Melcham is able to put through his second, and the Demons 12th. 12-5-77 Melbourne to the Bulldogs 9-2-56. Jake Melcham with his second to extend the lead to 21 points.
It's a funny quarter. And it's only been going for 4 minutes. But the Bulldogs have had 14 kicks. No handballs. So we've watched them, sellers, kick it around half back in a semicircle. On the other hand, Melbourne have had 10 kicks, 10 handballs. And they're the first team to score in this quarter. if the Bulldogs are going to continue to play like this for this second half, it's going to be a very long quarter.
Yeah, but they've gone wide too as well.
They've just gone in and half.
Yeah, exactly. Wide.
And it's so unlike them.
Yes,
usually
correct.
A high handball
yes,
team.
Correct.
They're a bit fractious, I would think.
Melbourne by 21. Crooked bounce in the middle. Recall that. Scores level in the Q clash. Time on in the third. Tight game there. Melbourne by 21 here. It'll be Jackson and English as the umpire tosses it in the air. English tries to grab it out of the ruck. Can't take it clean. Spills to Bontempelli. Just pushes it into the path of McRae. Hand pass out to English. Alongside the centre circles. Feeds it forward for the Bulldogs to Dale. Pickett's got him. Superb tackle. Umpire gives Dale the benefit of the doubt and the ball up inside the centre square.
What about the speed?
Oof. And the change has been made on Bailey Fritsch. It's Mitch Hannon.
They got him on there, yeah.
English palms it down behind to Williams. Hand pass to McRae. Kicks the Dogs to half forward, but the intercept mark for Rivers. Half back for Melbourne.
It's a sign switch across half back. May will take the mark as he claims it in front of Norton and looks up to Spargo, who takes the mark at right half back. Around the wing, Neil Pullen tries to use his body to get Treloar in the air, and he's given away the free kick. And Adam Treloar will take it. So just to give full context at the moment, Max Gawn is forward, so Keith has got him. And Gardner has been playing on Wiedemann. So interesting the selection choice there on the defenders as Richards moves it to Johannesson. He marks it left half forward. Treloar kept running, wanted it back in the pocket. That's ignored. As JJ looks at options, now he pokes it to Norton. Hard against the boundary. Just a half a metre gap on May. And he takes the mark, but it'll be a tough shot on goal.
Well, he has trouble from in front, this bloke, with his kicking. I don't know how he's going to get it from there.
It's a goal in the opening quarter. Aaron Norton, but hasn't had a lot of the footy since then.
Hasn't had many opportunities at all.
No, not at all. I don't know. What's
Missed last week with the health and safety protocols. I think he's got the drop pump in hand. Hard against the boundary. Norton fires its left all the way and fails to score in the end.
Yeah, he's not on the full. It's just not a pure kick. He needs to get dead in front or he's in trouble.
Tees by 21. Gee, dangerous from the exiting kick out from Viney. Runs, carries, hand pass to Salem. Back to Viney, back to Salem. High kick towards Gawn. Leaping over the back. Richards got a hand on it. Spills to Wiedemann. His hand pass a turnover. Libba back with it. Hand pass to McRae. Ricochets off Wiedemann. Into the path of Bontempelli. Hand pass to Dunkley. Feeds it all the way back to his mate Treloar. 70 out at half forward. Gives it to McRae. Kicks inside the forward 50. The Bond floating back in front of the pack. And Bontempelli rips it down. He takes the mark left half forward for the Bulldogs.
That's a courageous mark.
Absolutely. But he was well protected by his teammate. But that's what you want. And that's what you ask for, and you get it. Now he needs to fill this in. Get this goal.
He's had it out by as many as 27 late in the second quarter. The Dogs kicking 2 of the last 3 in the game to keep themselves within touch. Big kick for Marcus Bontempelli. His drop punt sails goalward, but he misses to the near side. And behind for Bontempelli, Melbourne by 20. 9 played third term on Grandstand AFL. ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital across the country.
May quickly in for the Demons to Hibbert. Gets it to Salem at half back, up towards Jackson on the wing. English is able to spoil it down and gather. He then lost it as Oliver Cannon into him. Still a chance for the Bulldogs as Liberatore squeezes in. Got it away to Bailey Smith. His hand
and they win the contest.
Is picked off though. Tomlinson kicks it long down the wing and Gardner's underneath. He takes the mark at right half back on the City wing. Inboard to Treloar. Wants a switch play out to the Dock side. Bontempelli's made space. He takes the mark with Buku Karmas running past, gives him the hand pass, and go wide around the boundary to Johannesson. Taken high by Petty. He probably wants 50. He's not going to get it, but he is slow to rise.
He did cop a nice one there.
Did he?
Yep.
He hasn't moved yet.
There's not a lot of difference between the Melcham one at the other end, is there?
Yeah, he's copped a nice one there, Johannesson.
But that's what I'm saying. If he copped it high in the same way Melcham did, it probably should be 50.
I think that was a little bit later.
Short to Hannon into the pocket. Josh Bruce on the lead. It's over his head. And Wakeman is shoved out of play by Hibbert for a boundary throw-in.
In the Q Clash, third quarter action, 7-point lead for the Gold Coast over Brisbane. So that's approaching three-quarter time there. 20-point lead for Melbourne here, but it's in the Dogs' forward 50. Boundary throw-in, comes the way of Dunkley. Hand pass to McNeil under pressure, gives it to Treloar. Centre half forward, 40 out. Hooks it goal when he's hooked it through. Treloar with the goal and the Dogs back within 14. They just keep hanging around the Bulldogs. They're 10-3, 63, Melbourne 12-5, 77. 10 minutes travelled third term. Adam Ramanauskas and Mark McClure on Grandstand AFL.
I think the change to Treloar to halfback has really worked. It was through necessity with both Caleb Daniel and Taylor Duray being out of the team. They needed a kicker across halfback. You know, Melbourne tonight have had James Harms on him for a lot of the night. You know, to try to just curb his influence there, but loved how he set up behind that contest. Set up, waited, sweated, and then finally the release handball. And we know how he's always been a good kick out of Treloar, and that was a brilliant finish.
Can you see it being a long-term thing?
Yeah, it might have to be.
Unless Daniel comes back.
He's got so many options through the middle of the ground.
An individual goal scorer for the Dogs. Gawn wins down the tap to Viney. Hand pass to Oliver, retreating Drown. Dunkley involved, could have been held when he didn't have it. Play on. Sparrow works it to Gawn, trying to link up with Viney on half forward. Taps it away from Williams, back onto it. Can't clear Richards. Is that prime opportunity? It is, even though he eventually squeezed the kick inside 50. Jack Viney can't quite do it all, even though he's shown at times tonight he's been pretty good. Richards across half-back to Hannon. No one in front of him, so he plays on. A bounce as he runs the wing. Looks up towards half-forward. It's a high kick for Norton. A 2-on-1. Ugle-Hagan in from the side. Petty, excellent mark. He was always the player in the box seat, and he was able to just hold his ground and take an impressive contested mark. Demons by 14 points.
So Petty, long kick to the wing. Karmas reaching over the back of Gawn, takes the intercept mark.
Jumped into his back, got him perfectly.
Karmas short kick to Garcia, who's given them a bit of a spark in that forward 50. Mark 60 metres out. And a 21-year-old, his fourth game back in the team. He just chips it up to Norton, who leaps over the top, can't take the mark. Spills down to West. Half forward for the Dogs. Hand pass to English, tries to draw the defender. Hand pass went straight to Jordan. Was locked up by Smith, and a ball up half forward for the Doggies.
Well, what they do have the Dogs in, Ugle-Hagan, Norton, Karmas, is three of the more athletic players in the competition.
Yeah.
Thrown up, English and Gawn. English got a hand onto it. Chance for Liberatore towards Bailey Smith. Can't take it cleanly. Brayshaw over the footy. Libber has another go. Wins it. Hand pass to Bontempelli. Bounces off one of his teammates, West. He wanted to go himself, and he misses to the left-hand side. He was a little bit frustrated in the last passage of play. He was on in the pocket. They decided to go into the corridor. Demons by 13 points.
It looks like to me that the Doggies are actually attacking more, but there's only one goal each for the quarter, so it's not a big deal.
Three-time premiership player Mark McClure alongside Adam Ramanauskas, Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden on Grandstand AFL. As Mays kick-out finds Brayshaw, he swings his kick wide to Tomlinson. 19 of their premiership players in tonight from the 23, so Tomlinson one of the four new faces for Melbourne. He goes long down the wing, and English takes the intercept mark, stands tall in the pack, logo City wing. So get some territory wins here, or get a few territory wins here, the Dogs, and lock it in their front half, and English, right on cue, retreats, goes back to Keith, back edge of the centre square. And he kicks out wide, finds Williams up against the boundary line. Melbourne by 13 points. In the Q clash, just a point in it. Gold Coast Suns leading Brisbane, approaching three-quarter time. Williams goes back to Keith, swings his kick across the half-back line.
You're in trouble.
Gardner doesn't take it, lets it bounce, fumbles under pressure from Harms, ripped into the ground, ball comes out in the tackle. Richards there for the Dogs, kicks to Dale at centre half-back.
Takes the mark and wants to move it with intent, straight down the middle to Treloar. They're on the break, looks inside 50. Ugle-Hagan, not a great kick. It clears Petty, still a chance. Onto it for the Dogs, unable to get a hand pass away was Bruce. He's stripped of it. And Rivers for the Demons, out to Langdon. Hand pass to Gawn, working it back to Langdon. Pinched by Dunkley for the Dogs. Hand pass to Treloar, feigns the hand pass, gives it to West. Kicks inside the 50, Ugle-Hagan with two to beat. It clears him and goes out of play. Not a bad result for the Dogs. A boundary throw in up against the right behind post.
Is that previous inside 50 entry, should have hit. Treloar had a lot more time. Ugle-Hagan had the space, he should have hit him.
They feel like they're building the Dogs, but they need a bit of reward for their effort. Thrown back in. Dogs deep in attack. Gorn in front. Norton came late. Cannon's into him. Lays the tackle. Did he fall in his back? Umpire says he'll ball it up. It's only 15 metres out from the Bulldogs' goal.
Momentum with the Bulldogs. As Clenchy outlined, can they make it have an impact on the scoreboard as Gorn palms it down. Langdon in the tackle, releases the footy, and now Viney's bumped out of play with the ball, so a throw in. Forward pocket for the Dogs. Melbourne by 13 points, a goal each in the term, which is now 15 and a half minutes old, quarter number 3. Gorn doing the ruck work, opposed to Bruce. Bruce wins a rare hit out. Ball lands at his feet through the legs of Oliver, scoops it up, back to Gorn, jams it on the boot out of defensive 50. Spargo can't win the one-on-one, bounces off his chest, Dale onto it now, the All-Australian. Hand pass back to Garcia, favours Langdon, his handball a turnover, Treloar back with it, he coughs it up too. Hibbard can't get a kick away, Langdon hands it back to him, Hibbard's kick a turnover, Gardner marks just forward of the wing for the Dogs.
Wants to give the hand pass back to English, gets inside 50 within range, strikes a big blow. The biggest Bulldog of them all, sailing through 50 for his second. And he does things that other big men can't do. A crucial link in the chain, and was able to close the gap back to 7 points Melbourne's way. The Demons 12-5-77 to the Dogs 11-4-70. 16 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport.
Well, they hardly ever handball to a ruckman, I can assure you, going down the forward line, but that was beautiful. You don't give it to them all the time, but that was a beautiful kick, and it was a clean hit. It wasn't a loopy one, which meant that people can get hold of you and all those sorts of areas. They've actually been in and out of their forward line so many times in this quarter, probably 6 or 7 more than the opposition. 9-4, there you go. 9-4 in front in inside 50s, and eventually you do score. And that was done by English. What a play.
6 inside 50s,
Yeah.
and they fixed up their clearance work.
Suns by 7 points, three-quarter time up in Brisbane. Here the Dogs within 7 as well. Melbourne still leading. Oliver hands it to his mate Petrarca, kicks down to half forward. Fritsch trying to track the footy, clever. Falls to ground, whacks it out to Spargo, still at half forward. Hand pass to Pickett, he's going to run out of room and out of bounds. Along with McNeil, so a throw in, 40 out from the Melbourne goal. 12-5-77 the Demons. And Bulldogs 11-4-70. 2 lead changes. They both came in the opening quarter. The D's have led it by as many as 27. From the boundary throw-in, Jackson palms it down, but Ligratore there. Hand pass to McRae in the back pocket. He gives it to Dale. Dale short kick, finds Keith. Takes the mark in the defensive arc. He comes out wide with a long kick to bottom. Pally gets in front of Spargo and takes the mark for the Bulldogs at half-back.
He's trying to impose himself on the contest. The Bont comes inboard to McRae. He's gathered a bit more of the footy after quarter time. His 6th disposal of this third quarter as he goes back to Keith and back inside the defensive 50 for Gardner. No one within 5 or 10 metres, so takes a trot and a bounce. Outside defensive 50 for Karmas, who leads up and marks on his chest.
16 possessions to Bont.
You can hear he's starting to get following Buku Karmas, but he's in 2 minds as to where to go here. Now just sends a long ball towards half forward. Petty sets himself, went to Spoil, clears him. Rivers now tackled, retreats back by a hand to Brayshaw. Up and under kick to the wing. Jackson underneath, couldn't take the mark. McRae there for the Dogs. Pulled his kick at the last moment. It trickles out towards West. Couldn't take it cleanly. It's knocked forward though. A chance as Dunkley tries to link up. Jackson brought down. Good tackle by Riley West. In fact, it was Williams who laid the tackle. It's a bit of a mismatch there in size.
Says holding the ball, so free kick for the Dogs. And Bailey Williams, in game number 99, can put it inside the forward 50 for the Bulldogs. Pack of players, hand on it from Petty. Oh, spills the way of McNeil. He's dumped at a heavy tackle. Like his head didn't bounce off the turf and all of that. And a tackle from Spargo. Everyone's okay, and we got a ball up. 30 metres out from the Dogs' goal. Norton grabs it out of the ruck, runs away from Gorn, kicks it through for a goal. Dogs are within a point. And the Bulldogs are off the leash in this third term. Melbourne by just 1. 12-5-77. The Bulldogs move to 12-4-76. Norton with his second. as we tick into time on in the third.
Well, a little bit of push and shove now between the play. It's been Norton's done the ruck work inside their forward 50 all night, and it's sort of similar to what Tom Hawkins does for Geelong. He's trying to push the opposition ruckman under the ball. On this occasion, it was Max Gawn, then take the ball out of the air. It's the first occasion that he's had some success with it, and then gets the ultimate reward for it with the goal. So it's an interesting tactic because Gawn's so good. He's got the height, no doubt, over Aaron Norton. But if the ball does get to the ground or Norton's able to grab it out of the air, as he did on that occasion, he's able to score.
Bulldogs back within a point. Gawn tries to do the ruck work and the clearance. Little tug on the jumper of English. Oliver knocked it on to Petrarca. Hand pass to Sparrow. Through traffic to Neil Bullen. Now to Harms. Great clearance. The finish. Got it.
Wow.
Melbourne at their best. Challenged by the Dogs at one end. Melbourne straight out of the middle. Straight down the highway to goal. The D's back out by 7 points. 13-5-83 to the Dogs, 12-4-76. Down to the boundary to Lauren Borden.
Adam Treloar came straight off and he was pretty forceful about going into the rooms. He just kind of brushed aside Robbie McComb. Wasn't down there for long but came up, has been getting a lot of work from the physios, looking at his calf. So shaking his head a little bit, doesn't look happy, but he's sitting on the bench and I think he wants to get back on.
Again, centre bounce clearance. Again, they score straight out of the centre. Probably 6 or 7 for the game at this stage that they've actually won and scored from, and that's a really telling blow.
It wasn't pretty. Roll up your sleeves kind of stuff to just get it going.
They score straight away and then they score straight back.
2 lead changes both in the first quarter. Melbourne have led from that point on. Dogs got within 3 and then got within 1 moments ago. The D's steadying on both occasions. Melbourne by 7. Out of the middle though go the Bulldogs. Liberatore hands it to English for the centre break. Kicks wide to Waitman, who marks in the long sleeves from the city wing just in from the boundary line. He goes with the short foot pass. Finds its way to McRae. Hand pass back to Waitman. On the run, kicks inside the forward 50, goes to a one-on-one in the pocket, locked up Dunkley, tackled by Salem, out of play. Boundary throw in forward pocket for the Bulldogs.
Interesting question. Is English really good at the moment against Max Gawn?
He's kicked 2 goals on him.
I know he has.
Suns by 7, 3-quarter time over Brisbane in the Q Clash.
Thrown back in, all eyes on Norton doing the ruck work here against Gawn. Got it down, hand pass comes to Bailey Smith. He's snap on goal. Here's across the face. Tom Liberatore with the silver service, but couldn't finish from deep in the right forward pocket. So a 6-point lead Melbourne's way, 22 minutes gone, third term.
Michael Hibbert's been told to change footies as to he wasn't able to.
I reckon he had it before the goal umpire had waved his flags.
Right. Is he not allowed to take the kick out before the flag gets waved?
I think till the all clear, no, you're not.
Did it into the back pocket. Finds May. May goes long down the wing and there's going to be a free kick picked out here and English is going to get it for the Dogs.
Inside 50s, this quarter must be massive for the Doggers.
11-6.
11-6. Yeah.
6-point lead for Melbourne. English just to pump it back inside the forward arc for the Dogs. They've had the better of the general play in this third term. Jamara flies for it, no mark, spills down to Tomlinson, chucks it on the boot, almost out on the full, bounces just inside, and the umpire says not enough intent to keep it in. Free kick for the Bulldogs. They're going to lock it in their front half.
Well, that was done by the crowd, I think.
It'll be Ed Richards to take it.
They're on the edge of the seat, the Doggies fans, as Richards kicks inside 50. Jamara's there, couldn't take the mark. It spills out in front of Langdon. There's a couple of players down with Stephen May slowly getting to his feet. They throw in the right forward pocket for the Dogs. It feels like they're having their best passage since the opening stages of the match. They're back within 6. Thrown back in. Norton doing the ruck work once more against Gawn. Tries to use his body to make the contact. It spills down towards Norton once more. Hand pass to Joe Tannison, to McRae. Down low for Liberatore. Couldn't take it. May got the hand pass. He was bumped, but he's turned it over. Straight to Bailey Smith, who's called to play on. He veers out to the right. Long towards the goal mouth. Up goes Waitman. It's off hands and through for a minor score. Melbourne by 5 points. 24 minutes gone, third term.
They've got back within a straight kick on 3 different occasions, the Dogs, but they haven't led since the 27-minute mark of quarter number 1. We're now a similar stage into the third as Hibbard goes long down that City wing, and again the Dogs chop it off on halfway. Keith with the intercept mark. Dogs back into a slow play. Just about every single player in 1/4 of the ground in the forward pocket for the Dogs. He kicks it back to the top of the goal square, and Gawn floats in front to take the intercept mark for Melbourne. Momentum with the Bulldogs at the moment as the kick for Gawn comes out wide to Jordan. And he marks it half back. Melbourne by 5. Time on in the third. Nothing up ahead. Has to go along with the contest. Kick down the line, Jordan. Off the hands of Richards. It doesn't go out. Karmas keeps it alive. Hand pass through the legs of Sparrow. Tries to bend down to pick it up. McNeil sits on top of him and a ball up. 5 metres in from the boundary, right in front of the bench. Melbourne by 5.
Tossed up in the air. English is first there. Wins down the tap, but straight to Sparrow. Spills off his hands to Bontempelli, to Bailey Smith. Treloar almost run down by Sparrow. Kicks to Waitman. He takes the mark inside the centre square. Looks at options inside the 50. Jamara comes out on the lead. Puts it on top of his head. Bounces off Langdon's chest. Riley West run down. Did he have prior opportunity? Umpire says he did. And the Demons win a free kick in the back pocket.
He didn't have much time, did he?
Petty and May once more called upon, and Petty laid a big tackle.
Did the umpire assume he dropped at the knees?
I got no idea.
And is that his prior opportunity? Is this the new interpretation that's been reinforced?
Well, he did drop
it was
down.
high or in the back anyway.
Free kick for the D's, and May goes long down that City wing. Again, the Bulldogs chop it off. Hannon, hand pass away to Treloar. They're playing the game in their front half. Gives it back to Hannon. Great chase down tackle. And guess who? It's Alex Neil-Bullen again with the 1%er. Superb chase down tackle, wins the footy back for Melbourne.
He's done 2 of those.
The Dogs were headed inside 50 again. Melbourne back the other way. Neil-Bullen, long kick to centre half forward. Gawn in the pack, out the back. Wiedemann drops a chest mark. Hand pass feeds Melksham. Melksham snaps goalward, and Karmas. Goal saving effort. Doesn't complete the mark. Knocks it through for a rush behind. So Melbourne now by 6. 27 travelled third term. In fact, yeah, it is 6 points. I'm in front of the computer, Clenchy. How about that? A 6-point lead for Melbourne.
Treloar does the kicking duty, sends it long towards Bruce. Quiet afternoon.
That was in the back.
Shove right in the middle of the back from Salem. Picked up by Brayshaw. Hand pass to Jordan of the Demons. Back to Salem. Kicks to Spargo. He takes the mark at right half forward. Runs to 50.
Great
Beautiful
kick.
pass. Wiedemann led into the space. Spargo put it right out in front of him.
And that only happens because Wiedemann ran towards him. That's why it happened. If he goes back towards the goal like most of them do and don't run towards the goal kicker, it doesn't work.
I think he was patient as well, Spargo.
Yeah, very good.
A lot of people rush. They see the 50-metre line. They think they've got to rush. But he was patient, just found the better option.
Kicked 2 goals in the opening term. Sam Wiedemann in for Ben Brown tonight. Just his 9th game of the season. Comes in. Beautiful kick. And every time the Demons have been challenged, they've found a way to respond. And Sam Wiedemann with his 3rd. They're out by 12 points. 14-6-90 to the Bulldogs, 12-6-78. 28 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport. It's 3 goals apiece in this third term.
Well, this is really what we came to see. We came to see a contest. We came to see 2 sides who played in the Premiership last year, a Premiership final last year, and they're not disappointing us, I can assure you. Ball goes up and down. That's probably... I think inside 50 probably they've had 7 to 12 or something against them, and they're still winning the game in different areas around the ground. Little kick to Wiedemann inside, finish off well, and they're still going. So seriously, this is just a ripper game. Love it. They're playing very well, good footy.
For the St Kilda game, just to back that point up, Sellers, the last 6 weeks the Dogs were the worst percentage in the competition for scores per inside 50 against. So when the ball went in there, the opposition scored. And tonight in this quarter, they've had 4 scores from 8 entries, Melbourne in the term. Back in the middle, Brayshaw's hand pass reaches McRae, gives it to English, hand pass to Dunkley, floats a kick inside 50. Jamara forced to spoil from the back at centre half forward. Down to Langdon, he knocks it away to Petty. Hand pass to Brayshaw, just strolls off the back flank, short kick to Petrarca. Norm Smith medalist, the first for the Melbourne Football Club, of course, in last year's grand final. Their prime mover goes with a long drop punt down the City wing. Gawn in the pack, punched away by Gardner. Off the hands of Treloar, spills to English. His handball a turnover. Neil Bullen shakes the Treloar tackle. Hand pass to Gawn, hurried kick forward. Fritsch will mark it. Against the boundary line at left half forward. He marks 40 out.
Difficult kick for him.
He's kicked 4 tonight. As you said, left peg up against the fence. And forward 50's filling up. He
waited for Raw to get there.
He did make a note of looking inboard. We know he's copped a little bit of heat about the hungry tag and pretty keen on the big sticks, and now he's got no other choice but to go back and kick it. It'll be after the bell for three-quarter time. Bailey Fritsch, he misses. Near side of behind. But it's Melbourne by 13 points, so the Dogs with the momentum in that third term, and yet they've only made inroads by 2 on the scoreboard. Melbourne by 15 at quarter time, by 15 at the half, and now Melbourne by 13 as we turn for home. The Demons 14-7-91, and Western Bulldogs 12-6-78. The goal kickers for Melbourne, Fritsch has 4, 3 for Wiedemann, 2 for Melksham, and then 1 each for Harms, Jackson, Neil Bullen, Sparrow and Pickett. While for the Bulldogs, 2 each for Jamara Ugle-Hagan, for Waitman, Norton and English, and then singles for Treloar, Bontempelli, West and Garcia. Meanwhile, up in Brisbane, it is the Lions by a single point in a Q clash which has been so tight throughout. A number of lead changes in the second half. 8 minutes into the final term, Brisbane by 1 over the Suns. We'll keep you updated. It's Melbourne by 13 points here on ABC Radio and Sport Digital. You're listening to Grandstand AFL.
Ready to hit the road and go exploring? Backroads is back. From Katherine in the top end to WA. From the New South Wales Riverina and Tassie's King Island to way out back. Join me, Heather Hewitt, and some of my fellow guest explorers for a journey to some of this country's most remote towns, full of surprising and memorable characters.
All new Backroads. New adventures Monday nights on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Boundary throw in, comes the way of Dunkley. Hand pass to McNeil under pressure, gives it to Treloar. Centre half forward, 40 out. Hooks it goal when he's hooked it through. Gardner marks just forward of the wing for the Dogs.
Wants to give the hand pass to English, gets inside 50 within range, strikes a big blow. The biggest Bulldog of them all, sailing through 50 for his second.
30 metres out from the Dogs' goal. Norton grabs it out of the ruck, runs away from Gawn, kicks it through for a goal. Dogs are within a point.
Gawn tries to do the ruck work and the clearance. Little tug on the jumper of English. Oliver knocked it on to Petrarca. Hand pass to Sparrow. Through traffic to Neil Bullen. Now to Harms. Great clearance. The finish. Got it. Wow. Melbourne at their best.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Sounds there from the third quarter. Melbourne by 13 points on the scoreboard. 14-7-91. The Western Bulldogs 12-6-78. Meanwhile, in the Q clash, scores a level 10 minutes into the final term between the Lions and the Suns. Our focus is what's happening here, though, at Docklands. The two combatants from last year's grand final, the Bulldogs and the D's. Mark McClure, Adam Ramanauskas.
Well, the quarters of 10. They led by 10 in the first quarter. The Demons, and then they led by 15. Now they lead by 13. There's nothing in this game when you think about it. 2 goals against these two sides. The Dogs dominated that quarter with inside 50s, but still only kicked 3 goals each. So that, Demons can kick goals quickly when they get their chances. Their best chances won't be done through the centre bounce clearance. We all understand that. We've watched it. We've seen it. 6 or 7 of those have come from there. You take that away, and they're in big trouble. But you know what? You can't take it away from them. Because they've done it very, very well. They score in different ways. They're set up pretty well, Melbourne, to win this game. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Dogs get a bit of lift from the middle of the ground. Bontempelli started to play in the middle of the ground now. He's gone forward a few times, but he also plays up and around the middle of the ground. They'll have to put their big guns in the middle to stop them out of the centre bounce, Rammer.
Well, I think you're looking now what needs to change from a Bulldogs point of view. The hard part is you say, okay, the Bulldogs need to empty out their forward line to give more space. They had, I think it was 15 entries to 11 that quarter in the Bulldogs' favour, but mostly it felt like Melbourne were able to defend it pretty comfortably.
Yeah.
So how to now, if they have that same sort of dominance with inside 50s in this last quarter, how do they get the scores? They're going to have to kick probably, I'd say, 4, possibly 5 goals to win this game. The Bulldogs. We're going to assume Melbourne are going to at least kick 2 more. So it's got to be Norton. Can he get enough one-on-one looks? I think Jamara Ugle-Hagan tonight has been really good. I think the delivery to Jamara Ugle-Hagan tonight has been really poor.
The stats won't tell that.
No, they won't tell that at all.
Kicks.
3 kicks. He's kicked 2 goals, but he is presented at the ball. You know, there was one Adam Treloar in that third quarter, absolutely butchered it. He had Petty by 5 metres, and then Treloar kicked it to Petty. So, Josh Bruce can't catch a cold at the moment, and you understand why. You know, he's just come back into the game. It's tricky for him. So, do you just use him off the bench in this last quarter?
I put him in the ruck.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
I put him in the ruck, put English up forward for another focal point. That's what you need to do. You got 2 talls up there that can take on, and to me, you got to try stuff. You can't just sit there and let them rot. Yeah, that's what you're there for as a coach. And
if on the Ds, I still try to isolate Bailey Fritsch as much as possible. I don't like the matchup of Karmas, and I don't like the matchup of Hannon on Bailey Fritsch. I just think they're not great matchups for Fritsch. He's going into the goal square now. Karmas is following him down there. So again, that's Melbourne's one wood at the moment.
Absolutely, it is.
Last time the Dogs were in front was the 27-minute mark of the first quarter. Melbourne kicked 5 goals in a row either side of quarter time. Since then, the Dogs have got back within a straight kick on 3 different occasions. Yeah. So once within 5 points, once within 1 point, once within 3 points. They haven't been able to get that go-ahead goal. Have they got it in this final term?
Well, there's a twist to this game.
You're right with Karmas. He hasn't got a defensive bone in his body.
Well, it might be time to throw him forward. Change him up a bit.
Possibly, yeah.
Melbourne by 13 points, 14-7-91 over the Bulldogs, 12-6-78. A couple of the leading numbers, Treloar with 24 leads all comers, 22 for Bailey Smith, and for the Ds, Clayton Oliver, after missing last week with 23 to three-quarter time. Final quarter ahead of us. Melbourne playing to go in the top 2 with the Cats, and the Dogs playing for a spot in the top 8. High stakes with a quarter to play. Demons can't get the centre break. Falls to Bontempelli. Sockers at the centre half forward, but Rivers is there. Hand pass to his premiership teammate in Salem. Kicks down the wing to Viney. Viney chips out wide to Spargo. He takes the mark for Melbourne. D's by 13 points. He comes wide to Big Max, who takes the mark in front of Keith.
See, Max has gone forward.
And the Q-Clash 15 minutes into the final term, Lions by 6 points. Gawn shares it with Brayshaw. Brayshaw then long. Fritsch floats across the front of the pack, but English out the back. Last man standing takes the intercept mark in front of the behind post. D's by 13 points, early doors, final term.
You mightn't have to worry about Karmas.
He's slow to rise after copying one at the back of the head. English long out of defence towards Bruce and Ugle-Hagan. Gawn in from the side, it cleared the pack. Trying to break the tackle, Garcia. Brayshaw lays the tackle.
That is holding the ball.
If you're fighting the tackle, you've got prior opportunity.
Correct.
Well, you're both wrong. The umpire balled it up.
Yeah, well, he's wrong.
Let me call the play. You guys come in with what happens after.
Okay.
Thrown up. English wins down the tap. Bontempelli gathers. A clearance for the Dogs. Hand pass to Treloar. Works it to McRae. Kicks to half forward. Norton there. Mate, too big, too strong. Floated and timed his leap superbly. Takes the mark across half back. Inboard he comes to Salem. Hand pass to the run of Rivers. Through the middle of the ground, he takes a bounce. Looks up towards half forward. His kick intended for Melcham up. Couldn't take the mark. Brought it down to Spargo. Tackled by Richards. Nowhere to go. Umpire says, holding the ball.
Just took a long time.
Did a big wind-up. Pause for effect.
It's art of the cell, Ramo. Just got to make sure, pause, blow the whistle, make sure all the cameras are on you, and then holding the ball. Free kick for Richards as he goes long down the wing.
Oh, is that how it works, is it?
There's May waiting out the back for the Demons. He's mowed down, tackled out of play, so we'll have a boundary throw in here on the wing. Final quarters this year, the Dogs have lost more than they've won. They're 8-9 in final terms. Melbourne are 10-7.
Just on that stat, they've won one of their last 6 quarters, the Bulldogs. That was against Hawthorn.
And the boundary throw in. Jackson knocks it down to Oliver. Shares it with Salem. Salem hurried. Kick forward of the wing. Melcham underneath it. Knocked away from him by Gardner. Richards is there. Hand pass away to Treloar. He shares it with McRae. Short kick to Johannesson, who marks right on halfway. City wing pressed up against the boundary line. Melbourne by 13, 3 minutes played, final quarter.
McRae puts a block on, so he tries to run the boundary up towards half forward. Ugle-Hagan in from the side, had a fair piece of it, not paid the mark. Petty hasn't cleared the congestion. Salem with the hand pass to Langdon for the D's, to Oliver. Turns, twists, looks at options, bangs it long down the wing. Gorn underneath it, Gardner spores it down through the hands of Jackson. Treloar picks it up for the Dogs. Back to Dale on half back. Cozzy Pickett putting the pressure on. Bumped him as he got his kick away. Carmus over the footy. Knocked it to Garcia. In fact, it's McNeil. Looks inside 50. Great pass. And spots up Garcia. He wants to give it off. And Ugle-Hagan all on his own in the corridor. Marks 35 metres out from goal. And here is an opportunity.
Well, it was risked there by Bailey Dale. It was a grubber along the ground, and Karma's just a nice little tap. Gave McNeil a chance. Beautiful kick inside 50 to Garcia. Then unselfish to Ugle-Hagan.
We spoke about him at three-quarter time. 3 kicks for 2 goals. Doesn't get a lot of the footy. Jamara Ugle-Hagan comes in, but if he makes them count like that, that's all that matters. A third for Ugle-Hagan to back up his 3 last week against the Saints, and he's playing his role, being and only getting a small amount of the footy. And the all-important first goal of the final term cuts Melbourne's lead back to 7 points. 14-7-91 to the Dogs, 13-6-84.
Well, the job's to kick goals. If you're a forward, Ugle-Hagan's had 4 kicks for 3 goals, so mighty effective. But like I said at three-quarter time, he's been in the contest for a lot of the day.
He had that one out on the other side where he did a fair bit. Almost could have been paid the mark.
Q-Clash, Brisbane by 11. So 19 minutes into the final term, the Lions just steadying up. 14-13 to 13-8. Suns have led for large periods of the second half. From the restart back in the middle, Gorn down to Oliver. Hand pass back to Gorn. Squeezes the kick out to Treloar in front of Harms. Takes the intercept mark, centre half back for the Bulldogs. Melbourne by 7 points, 5 played final term. Treloar long kick to Dale. Marks in front of Keziah Pickett. Looks back into the corridor. Hits up Bontempelli. Drops a mark he'd ordinarily take. Petrarca's got him. Runs him down. Somehow got rid of the footy. No free kick. Petrarca wins it anyway for Melbourne. Hand pass to Hibbert. Hands it out to Salem. And now to Jordan. He goes back by hand to Salem. Back to Jordan, defensive side of the wing.
Looks up to the wing. The Dogs have the loose in Gardner. He sets himself in front of Melksham with Keith there as well and spoils it out of play. How was that? 2 of the top 10 players in the competition, Marcus Bontempelli and Christian Petrarca. And the Bont thought he could fend him off. And most players he probably could. But Petrarca never gave up. The throw in just short of half forward for the Demons, who lead by 7 points. Gorn in front, palms it down. Chance for Cozzy Pickett over around the footy. Liberatore with a hand pass to the Dogs to Dunkley. From half back, high kick towards Norton. May works him underneath. Takes another good contested mark.
You see the frustration on Norton there. Stephen May's a master, just nudging his player under the ball.
Just 101 kilos as opposed to Aaron Norton 93, and it looked every bit evident there. Brayshaw towards half forward, Gorn in the pack, can't take the mark. Here's Cozzy, gathers boundary side, eyes an unmarked goal, and passes it through. At his damaging best. Cozzy Pickett with his second. And Melbourne, as they have all night, answer the challenge immediately. Back to a 13-point buffer. 15-7-97 to the Bulldogs, 13-6-84. 6 minutes gone, final term. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
Treloar looked like he was moving quite well in the fourth quarter, but Treloar has had to go down into the rooms. It's still his right calf. Had a lot of work done on it at the three-quarter time break, but he's pulled himself off the field again. He's gone straight down the race into the rooms.
Well, you can't beat speed. That is extraordinary speed. When you get hold of the ball in front of him and away he goes, Cozzy Pickett. He's had a few flashes of brilliance in this game, and he's going to have some more coming up in the next couple of years, I can assure you. It's in his first year as an AFL player, and gee whiz, he's certainly putting on a show. What a great goal.
6 last week against Port Adelaide. He was the match winner. Steadying goal for Melbourne. So one each in this final term. D's back out by 13. What connection. Gawn just hooks it straight down to Oliver. Gets a high kick out to half forward from the centre break. Spargo can't mark. Richard spoils. Down to Smith of the Bulldogs. Hand pass to Williams. Hand pass to Liver. He gives it away by hand to Dale. The All-Australian heads down that city wing through the hands of Petrarca, but Brayshaw mops it up for Melbourne. Hand pass to Neil Bullen. Gives it to Gawn inside the centre circles. Back to Brayshaw. Short kick to Sparrow, who takes the mark. Front edge of the centre square. Hand pass back to Brayshaw. Just puts it out wide for Pickett. And Cozzy Pickett's got it again up against the boundary line. He marks 40 metres out.
I don't think he expected it.
The kick was just headed in that general direction with Fritsch and Pickett out wide. And in the end, it landed short of Fritsch, and Pickett wins a one-on-one. In front of the Bulldogs race and the Lockett end of the ground. He'll cross the junction on the boundary line in the 50. He opens up the angle and looking for the extra distance. He misses the whole set. Out of bounds on the full. Melbourne by 13 points, 9 played in the last. Lauren on the boundary.
Treloar's day is officially done. He's gone off the field. McComb warming up. Just got instructions from Beveridge on the boundary, so he'll be coming in as the Medi sub.
Thanks, Lauren. Bailey Dale out of defence for the Dogs, up towards Keith. He takes the mark at right half back just inside the boundary. Melbourne by 13 points. A goal apiece so far through the opening 9 minutes of the final term. Keith kicks it high towards Ugle-Hagan. In from the side, Gawn can't take the mark. Norton tries to pounce on it at ground level. Hand pass to Garcia. Great backpedaling as he slammed it in reverse and then kicks up to Ugle-Hagan. He almost claimed the mark as Petty came late, but he chopped his arms. And Ugle-Hagan has it at right half forward. Wants to move it quickly because Bontempelli's inside 50. It's a high kick. Have a go at that. Bont almost took the chest mark. Now lays the tackle. Was that over the shoulder on Sparrow? No whistle. Still a chance for the Dogs. It spills out. Dunkley trying to get the hand pass to Johannison. Hibbert's involved. Bailey Smith over the footy. Can't spin out of traffic. And eventually the umpire will have to intervene and ball it up 40 metres out from the Dogs' goal.
Up it goes. Gawn just swats it down in front of Oliver, who's been big in this final term. Copped an unkind bounce. Dunkley tackled by Viney, dispossessed.
Look at the numbers.
Sparrow hurriedly kicks to the wing. Spills the way of Neil Bullen. Spun around in the tackle from Hannon, holding the ball. Free kick for Mitch Hannon.
4 or 5 doggies around him. He's in trouble.
Hannon from the broadcast wing. Just lays it up in front of Ugle-Hagan. Having a breakout fortnight. And the 20-year-old takes the mark in that channel at right half forward and a chance to go back and make it a career best.
Just a strong mark. Look, if you keep presenting as a forward, you give yourself every opportunity. And he's doing that, Ugle-Hagan, so he deserves his 4th goal.
He's made the most of his limited opportunities tonight with 3 already. He's going to make it 4. For the first time in his career, Jamara Ugle-Hagan on his way to a bag. And he keeps the Dogs well and truly in the hunt. Melbourne's lead cut to 7. The D's 15-7, 97. The Dogs 14-6, 90.
I would have been taking him off the ground. I know everyone needs a spell, but he looks their most dangerous forward. And you look there, Josh Bruce, just give him the big tap on the head as he's running onto the ground. A quick break, 2 minutes, get him back out on the ground. He's jumping at the ball. He's showing the athleticism that he was drafted for. His hands are very, very sticky tonight. So it's terrific play by those. You were just getting the feeling that the Dogs need to start to take a few risks. And, now 7 points. It's still anybody's game. Plenty of time to go. But they want Ugle-Hagan out on the ground.
Adam Ramanauskas forecasted it beautifully with Jamara Ugle-Hagan. The Dogs move closer. Gawn down to Viney. Ran into a dead end. There's nowhere to go. Great tackle, Bontempelli. And the Dogs will get the clearance. Bont back behind his mark. Looks inside 50. Kicks out wide for Bruce. He gathers on the bounce. Turns 55 metres out. Down low. Dunkley. Was it a half volley? No, it's a mark. He has it deep in the left forward pocket.
Oh.
He slid his hands underneath. It looked close from up here. The umpire has a far better view than us. And I think he made the right call there. And what a big kick this turns out to be. Josh Dunkley, 3 or 4 steps in from the boundary, in the left forward pocket. He'll kick from about 35 metres out. Slow in his approach. Josh Dunkley trying to seize the moment, comes in and misses to the left-hand side. A minor score. Melbourne's lead is a goal. 12 minutes gone, final term.
For the 4th time since falling behind, the Dogs back within a straight kick. We've now travelled 13 minutes into the final term, Melbourne by 6. May goes long to the wing, Gawn takes the mark.
They're powerful.
And every player on the ground just rushes up into Melbourne's forward half. 13 minutes into this final turn, D's by 6. Gawn with a long 50-metre drop punt to Jackson. And his partner in crime takes the juggled mark, high half forward for Melbourne. Dishes off a hand pass to Rivers. Rivers just sells the dummy around Gardner. He's still 55 out, kicks for Wiedemann. Got a hand on it. Karmas trying to claim the mark. It'll be paid. And Karmas in the back pocket for the Bulldogs. Switches across the goal face to Richards. Marks in front of the behind post.
As Johannesson free, runs into space. Can he get it up to Williams? The kick is no good. It's out on the full. And Melbourne will take it back. The moment lost for the Dogs to springboard out of defence.
Late in the final term in the Q clash, Lions by 22. So that's a wrap there. Brisbane will beat the Suns. Game on the line here. Melbourne by 6. 14 played final term.
Tom Sparrow has the free kick for Melbourne. Kicks inside 50. Gawn and Wiedemann are there. Front and centre. It spills down to Petrarca. Dodging and weaving. Hand passes boundary side for Melcham. It's too wide. And he steps over the line for a boundary throw-in. Right forward pocket for the Demons. They lead by a goal. On every time they've been challenged, they found an answer, Melbourne. 14 minutes gone, final term.
Boundary throw in half forward for the D's. Gawn grabs it out of the ruck, shakes the English tackle, coughs it up though. Richards at half back for the Bulldogs. Hooks his kick down the wing. Hands on it for Tomlinson, no mark. Falls the way of Jackson, who's off and running. Kicks inside 50. Melcham can't take the juggle mark. Spills to Petrarca to break the Dogs' hearts again. He kicks across the goal face. And behind for Petrarca. As we like to say in the classics, Rammer, a handy point as Melbourne goes 7 clear midway through the final term.
It is the blemish on his resume, isn't it, Christian Petrarca? 15-24 for the season. Norm Smith medalist. Hannon careful, kick from English. Crashed 2 Demons, but he did take the mark. Neil Bullen slow to rise. Out to Johannesson at right half back. Kicks up towards McNeil, an unlikely 2-on-1. He's able to bring it down though as Petty didn't take the mark. Waitman over the top, Hibbert over the top of him. Petty gathers, hand pass to Spargo. Links up with Rivers, hand pass not as precise. Looking for Jackson. Over the top, McComb, the sub into the action for Treloar. Gets it to Waitman, dodge to tackle. Hand pass to McNeil. A free kick for hold in the footy. Just as the Dogs are about to break inside 50 through Bailey Smith. And Christian Salem will take the free kick.
It was an incorrect disposal.
All night when the Demons have dropped the hammer, the Dogs haven't been able to go with them. We're halfway through the final term, Melbourne by 7. Can the Dogs produce it when it matters in the last to get a place in the 8 tonight? The kick for Salem down the wing. Gawn hands to it. No mark, spills to Dale. His hand pass, a turnover. Petrarca releases Harms, kicks inside 50. Pickett marks. Centre half forward for the D's.
She's now out the Dogs. Just Petrarca there with the intercept from the Bailey Dale handball. And then it's quick as a flash. Melbourne are inside their forward 50 with Cozzy directly in front, 40 metres out.
He's got 2.
Keziah Pickett, the match winner last week. He moves in, his set shot never looked like it. Way out to the right, and in the end he's lucky to register a behind.
I don't love his set shot routine, Cozzy.
There's a lot of bobbing up and down and shoulders moving.
Ball moves everywhere.
Melbourne by 8 points, 17 played final term.
Dale quickly down the middle to Keith. Wants to find Bailey Smith that hung in the air a long time as Fritsch was trying to loom to spoil. And Smith's able to take the mark. McComb leads around the boundary line. He spots him up. Right half back for the Western Bulldogs. Melbourne by 8 points. 17 minutes gone, final term. Goes for English. He marks centre wing. The Bulldogs ruckman with a couple of goals in this match Looks up towards half forward. Jamara Ugelhagen, great mark. Just gained a couple of strides on the lead and was able to get past Petty. A career best 4 goals. Inside 50. Bruce sets himself. Mays there. How often do we see that? Takes a big contested mark in the middle of the pack. Melbourne's number 1. He's turned it over. Straight to Bontempelli, not 15. Hand pass to McRae. Can he finish? Under pressure. He can. Chaotic but effective. It's back to a 2-point ball game. A moment Stephen May would want back. And the Dogs had their best sniff since the third quarter. As your stat, Corby, 5 times they've been within a goal. And all of a sudden at the 18-minute mark of the final term, they may be surging at the right time. 15-7-97 to the Demons, 15-9-99.
That's what he is, Stephen May. He short kicks a lot. So he takes those big intercept marks and then he looks for the short kick inside on those 45-degree angles. So he does give you a chance. And Bontempelli just ever alert there. They didn't hear the play on call initially, but then once he did, give the handball to McRae, who's had a quiet night by his standards, but just a critical goal at this stage of the game.
They're back in this same spot again, the Bulldogs. Can they get themselves past the Demons? 2 points Melbourne's lead. Gawn grabs it out of the ruck, gets the centre break. McComb off the wing for the Dogs though. Wins possession back. Hand pass to Dale, hand pass to Richards, to McRae, he coughs it up. Hand pass to Neil Bullen, tackled by Keith. Holding the ball, free kick for Keith.
He had a chance to get rid of it and he chose to run into him.
Chance for the Dogs to take a breath. The hurried handballs under pressure off the half-back line. Melbourne by 2. Dogs with momentum. They've kicked 3 of the 4 goals in the final term. Long kick down the wing, punched away by Petty. And it's out of play in front of the benches and in front of Lauren Borden.
And it's where Simon Goodwin is. He doesn't give anything away, but Mark Williams is at the back of the bench. He looks like he's going to burst a blood vessel with how loud he's been yelling. He's got his beanie on back to front. I'm not going to tell him that, but he's going mad right now. He's yelling again, and I think the other side of the field can hear.
Melbourne by 2 points, approaching time on in the final term.
Toss back into play. English and Gawn once more. They make body contact. Gawn knocked it down, but Bontempelli read it best. Salem laid the tackle. It comes to McRae. Kicks to Ugelhagen. He marks on the lead. What a night he's having. The former number 1 draft pick veers out to the left. Looks inside 50. Puts it towards Bruce May. Got rid of him. And takes the mark on his chest. He'll be more careful with this disposal. As he shares it to Petty. 25 metres out from his defensive goal, up to Cozzy Pickett. Hannon's there, spoils it down. Pickett against the boundary, happy to take it across.
Just so strong, Stephen May.
Oh, he's strong, man.
You know, Josh Bruce is a strong man, but Stephen May just pushed him aside like he's a first-year player.
Had the first draw of the season at this venue last night. These two teams don't like sharing anything. 2 points Melbourne's lead at the moment from the boundary throw-in. 1 down to Oliver, kicks down the wing. Richards gets there for the Bulldogs though. Hand pass to Hannon. He feeds it to the Bont, kicks inside 50. Brayshaw got a hand on it. Gets inside 50 though for the Bulldogs. Tomlinson out to meet it. Hand pass to Langdon against the boundary line. Kicks down the wing for the D's, and at the drop Richards takes the mark, but there's a free kick for a hold. Gawn illegally held out of it. Melbourne get the free.
Again.
Gawn hits up Pickett in the front half. He's forward at the wing. Off and running. Keziah Pickett sends it inside 50. Jackson backing back. Karma spoils, but straight to Fritsch. Kicks to the top of the goal square. Neil Bullen the target. Dale punches it away and out of play. Boundary throw in forward pocket for Melbourne. And a goal-saving effort from Bailey Dale. Demons by 2. 22 minutes travelled final term.
What a ripping game we've had.
It's a beauty.
Grand final rematch. The Demons were far too good in round 1. The Dogs get a chance here to keep their season alive. Thrown back in. Jackson knocks it down to Petrarca. The moment man snaps on goal. He misses to the left. Couple of behinds in this final term for Christian Petrarca. Melbourne lead by 3.
There was no goal saver back on the line, Rammer.
No. Always have somebody on the goal line.
That too, if that bounced the other way, that would have been a costly goal for the Dogs. As it is, Melbourne by 3. From the exiting kick out, Dale's kick's a shocker. Dribbles its way to McRae. Surge kick into the middle of the ground. Tomlinson and Jamara. Jamara turns him inside out. What a pick-up. Tackled by Brayshaw. And Oliver, and ball held in the middle of the ground.
Important one there for Ugelhagen.
They did a good job. He just got tackled by Brayshaw.
Right. Yeah. Melbourne by 3. Gawn grabs it out of the ruck. He's ragdolled out of there by English. Dogs win it. Dunkley, hand pass to Smith. Kicks inside 50. Garcia back with the flight. Takes the mark. Plays on to make it really interesting. Garcia puts the Bulldogs in front. For the first time since the opening term, Riley Garcia slots it from the pocket. And this game takes another twist. Bulldogs by 3. 23 minutes travelled in the final term.
I just thought the win, it wasn't a win. It was Jamar Ugle-Hagan making the ball neutral in the middle of the ground because it was a 3-on-1. And the ball had favoured the Demons, but then he was able just to hold it in Ugle-Hagan and force the ball up. But then the Dogs are just good enough to get the ball through that stoppage and out. It's Dunkley who wins it, then Smith still running, and just composure to hit Garcia. And I love that from Garcia. Take the game on, back yourself in, kick the goal.
What have you got? Reigning premiers. Bulldogs in front by 3 points. Gawn sets himself, massive slap in the middle of the ground as the bounce favoured him. Out to the city wing, over the top of the footy. McComb, Langdon over the top of him. And the umpire will ball it up. It's got to right half forward for the Demons. 23 minutes gone, final term, so still plenty of time. Gawn knocks it forward into the path of Oliver. Run down by Bontempelli. He might have been in 2 binds. Dale feeds the hand pass out to Bailey Smith. Defend off on Langdon. Returns, kicks around the city wing. Waitman caught behind. He makes body contact on Hibbert and it trickles out of play for a boundary throw in. Bulldogs by 3 points. Crowd posted at 26,501. They're seeing a ripping contest for Saturday night footy.
3 lead changes, but the one here in the final term, the first since the opening quarter. And the boundary throw in. Petrarca, hand pass away to Gawn. Sweeping hand pass down the wing. Wanted to connect with Neil Bullen. Johannisen slides in for the Dogs. Sits on the footy. He's in strife. Free kick for Melbourne holding the ball. And Neil Bullen will get up with the footy. Just forward of the wing. Kicking to the locket end. Neil Bullen puts it inside 50. Gardner puts his fist through it. Ball spills down in front of the Dogs and knocked away beautifully by Bontempelli. Away to Johannisen. Hurried kick down that city wing. Jamara waits for it to bounce. He knocks it down, but straight to Brayshaw. Hand pass, not a good one.
Tackle.
Back into dispute, and a big tackle. We lock it all up again as Tomlinson just sits on top of Garcia. And a ball up 70 metres out from the Dogs' goal. Bulldogs by 3, 25 played in the last.
They kicked 4 goals from their 9 inside 50s, the Dogs. Stephen May's taken 3 or 4 intercept marks. Jackson didn't clear it. The Bond swoops onto it, kicks along towards Ugle-Hagan and Petty's in the box seat. And backpedaling, he takes the mark just in front of his behind line. He wants to go straight down the middle to Brayshaw. Here's Melbourne at their best on half back. Looks up towards Melcham. He flies. Can't take the mark. It clears to May on the wing. Trying to link up with Pickett. Now he becomes the tackler on Johannisen. He can't rip the footy clear. And the umpire will ball it up between wing and half forward.
Well, you hear Stephen May's name. He's gone forward. Stephen May, Aaron Norton's following him.
That's a big move with the game on the line. Gawn down to Petrarca. Hurried kick to half forward. Melcham crashes the pack, but it spills to McNeil. Jams it on the boot for the Dogs. Back down the broadcast wing. Hibbert happy to let it bounce out of play. And a throw in just forward of the wing for the Dogs. Bulldogs 5 times got within a single score. Couldn't get the go-ahead goal. And moments ago, Riley Garcia racing away in the pocket. Put the Dogs in front. For the first time since late in the opening term. 27 gone in the last. Dogs by 3. They all miss it. Slides through to Bontempelli on the wing. Hand pass to McRae. Kicks out wide to half forward. Williams grabs it. Hangs it inside the boundary line. It's out of play.
The ball was out too. Right on the line, outside the line.
Williams was racing off into the open goal. Brayshaw slipped over trying to lay the tackle, and the boundary up on the spot said all the ball was over all the line. And a throw in, 40 out from the Dogs' goal.
Bulldogs by 3 points. Stephen May's gone forward. Aaron Norton's gone with him. He's now the loose in defence. Gawn slaps it down straight to Bailey Smith. Outside the attacking 50, McRae. Kick smothered by Jordan. Spills to Bontempelli. Deliver on the left. It's offline to the right. And through for a minor score. 4 points, the Bulldogs lead at the 27-minute mark of the final term.
2 minutes, Melbourne, so they don't have to rush. They just need to be precise.
Petty brings it in to Brayshaw, kicks down the wing. Stephen May got hands to it, can't complete the mark.
Got to push in a free kick.
Against Gardner. The umpire just pointing to over the shoulder, so free kick to Melbourne regardless. May goes short to Jordan in front of the interchange. Dogs by 4 points. Final 2 minutes, dangerous kick. Jordan inboard to Brayshaw. The mark will be paid. Brayshaw switches play to Petty alongside the centre circles. Petty just goes long inside the forward 50 for the D's. 4 Dogs go up, spills down to Garcia, who's now got it in the defensive 50. Kicks out to half-back. Pickett can't keep it in. It's out of play. It's 55 metres out from Melbourne's goal. And there's 80 seconds left in the ball game with the Dogs leading by 4 points. A boundary throw in half forward for the Demons.
It's the grand final rematch we all wanted. Gawn takes it out of the ruck. He's tackled by Bontempelli. He's gone. What a captain's moment there. As the Bont said, you're not passing me. And he takes it left half back with over a minute to play. Back inside the defensive 50 to Richards. Can they control possession, the Dogs? Can they execute that? Leading by 4 points. Richards called to play on. He drives it long. Gawn sets himself on the wing. Petty went up early. Gave away the free kick surely to Ugle-Hagan. 4 goals, including 2 in the final term for Jamara.
They can't win now, I don't think. I don't think they can get there.
Under a minute to go. Thought about going backwards. His teammates point forwards. He pulls his kick. Down low, McComb can't take it. Viney over the footy. Hand pass to Harms. He tries to knock it on to Oliver. Limbers in there for the Dogs. Hand pass away. Williams around his body towards Bontempelli. He'll be happy to see it out. Salem watches it bounce in front of the 2 of them. And it's a boundary throw in down the wrong end for the Demons. The Bulldogs by 4 points.
Just about every player on the interchange for the Dogs is standing up. Some nervy moments, a 4-point lead for the Bulldogs. Boundary throw in half forward. English tries to swat it down. Pack forms at his feet. Gawn extracts it. Williams clever. Palms it down to Jamara. He shoots goalward. Jamara's kicked it. What a breakout night for the #1 pick. He's kicked 5 in a come from behind classic. Jamara Ugle-Hagan celebrates with the fans in the front row as he's mobbed by his Bulldogs teammates. The left-footed cannon from outside 50 to ice the game. The Bulldogs by 10.
Look, how good was that? That was just terrific. The little tap by Bailey Williams there. He could have easily taken the ball. Bailey Williams got tackled and then given the Demons a chance, but a little tap. Then Ugle-Hagan from outside 50. He's had a terrific game. Hasn't had a ton of the football, but he's made every single opportunity count tonight. Ugle-Hagan celebrates with the crowd. It's his moment as a Bulldog.
What a game for Jamara Ugle-Hagan, the 20-year-old. Bounce back in the middle. Gawn and English. Gawn wins down the tap to Petrarca. Hand pass to Viney. The siren's about to sound as he can't get the kick inside 50. And what a win for the Dogs. The Bulldogs by 10 points over the reigning premiers to exercise some of the demons of the past and to win back their place in the 8. And a breakout game for Jamara Ugle-Hagan, who finishes with 5. The Bulldogs by 10. It's one of those nights that makes you wonder, what did we just witness? The Demons felt like they had the game under control for so much of the match. By 15 points at quarter time, by 15 at half time, by 13 at three-quarter time. But they got out by 27 points in the second quarter before the Dogs kicked 5 of the last 6 goals of the match to overrun them by 10 points, 17-8, 110 to the Demons, 15-10, 100 in front of 26,501 fans. It means the Cats are clear on top of the AFL ladder by a game and the Dogs are in the 8.
White and blue, we come out smiling.
The Bulldogs winners by 10 points over the Demons in round 19. It'll be remembered as the night Jamara Ugle-Hagan broke out with 5 goals. 2 goals for Norton and to Garcia, for English and to Waitman. Individuals for Bontempelli, McRae, West. Meanwhile, for the Demons, 4 goals to Bailey Fritsch, who kicked 3 in the second term. 3 to Sam Wiedemann, 2 to Pickett, to Melcham. Individuals to Harms, Jackson, Neil Bullen and Sparrow. So all of a sudden, the Demons have lost 2 of their last 4. And at a time in which you want to be starting to play your best, the Dogs have found a way to keep their season alive, and maybe they're the team that want 8th spot the most.
How does that make you feel, Sellers, seeing a young key forward
I love
with 5 goals tonight in his 17th game?
No, I think that was just fantastic. The Doggies came here and they probably thought, we've got to we might get beaten here. I thought they'd get beaten. I thought they'd get flogged. And at the start of the game, they got killed in the centre bounce clearance. This is the big part about it. They got flogged in that first half in that area. All of a sudden, they started to win the inside 50 battle. They continue to do that. In the last quarter, they kicked 5 goals. They kicked 5 goals against the premiers of last year, and these guys and the other blokes kicked 1. 5 goals to 1 in the last quarter, and they steamed over the top of them. They had more run. They were more keen, and sometimes you lose that urge. Sometimes you get a bit lazy, thinking we're going to win this game. Oh, someone will do this. We'll get this over the line. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. Guess what? It didn't happen. And all of a sudden now, how many games have they lost in the last 5 weeks or 6 weeks?
Yeah, so they're 3 and 5 in their last 8.
There you go. 3 and 5 in their last 8. So they're in ordinary form in a sense when you think about it. When you think that they're going to blow them away, but the 5 goals, but the breakout from Ugle-Hagan was just fantastic. The spread of goals between the guys there, to me, I thought their defence was just sensational. I love what they did in defence. Gardner and Ed Richards and, Karmas and all those sorts of guys, Hannon and Keith. You know what? They were under pressure all day against a really solid forward line, but they just beat them. And then the midfield started to take over a little bit in the last quarter, if you saw that, with Bontempelli and Liberatore, McRae. McRae had 100 stacker ball in the last quarter, and that's the turnaround. You can do whatever you like in this game, as long as you want to have a crack at it. And they didn't give up, and that's the point for me. They just did not give up at any stage and continued to battle away. Love what they did. Thought it was fantastic. To beat the Premiers, they probably got flogged and they were humiliated on grand final day, as we all know, by 70-odd points. Little revenge, little kick in the pants to the opposition. I really enjoyed it.
What was really interesting in this game is the Dogs were smashed in centre bounce clearance all night. But around the ground in clearance, they absolutely dominated that. So they actually won clearance for the night, 45 to 38. So that was a big win for the Dogs there. And what that did, that set their running off, I think, in the second half. So if you look at the second half, it's 8 goals to 4 in the second half. They wanted to open the game up, the Bulldogs, as much as they can. It felt like all night, and I said this, I think, at half-time, is that Melbourne really only had 2 avenues to goal, through centre bounce and through Bailey Fritsch.
That's it.
And once they stop that, they go and win the game. They have a dominant performance by Ugle, or not, I won't say dominant performance, but
a breakout
performance by Ugle. I thought Bontempelli was exceptional tonight. Absolutely. He was going back with a fly to the ball at one end of the ground to help his defenders. He was up the other end of the ground, marking the ball, kicking goals himself. He had 10 clearances and 28 possessions. I think his last 2 weeks have been enormous. When the Bulldogs have really needed their captain to stand up, he's absolutely stood up in 2 critical games and got 2 critical wins now for the Dogs. They find themselves back in the 8. Bailey Smith, I thought, was really good. That last bit of play where he breaks from the stoppage from the wing, he could have easily blazed away, but then sees Garcia just out of the corner of his eyes, puts it in front of Garcia. Garcia plays on, kicks the goal. It was really composed play by Bailey Smith. Bailey Dale continued to run all night. Ed Richards run all night. Tim English had a big battle against Max Gawn. He's had 20 possessions, Tim English, and kicked 2 goals. Gawn's had 25 possessions and 40 hit-outs. So what do you take there? I take the 2 goals.
I take the 2 goals.
I take the 2 goals in that matchup. I thought they were really important moments particularly the one in the third quarter where he received that handball. Tim English able to go through and kick that goal. So, look, the Dogs had their moments where we thought, this could get really ugly here. Melbourne looked dominant at stages within this game, but credit to them. They stuck at it. They held firm. We thought there was going to be another twist in the last quarter, and there truly was. So they go home really proud of themselves tonight. I think Melbourne are scratching their heads. I think I think Simon Goodwin is going, well, where do we find our best form? What is our best form? What are we as a team? Are we a moments team? Are we a play the game for 10 minutes and think that's going to win us the game? Mm-hmm. Or can we have some sustained resistance? Can we have some sustained dominance in play where we can put teams away? Because they had the opportunities to put the Dogs away tonight. They couldn't.
Yeah, it feels like there's a narrative framed around Melbourne that they're just sort of playing within themselves and they're just toying with teams at times. But I think you guys will tell us, footy's too hard just to think that you can just flip a switch whenever you want to all of a sudden turn it on.
It's impossible.
You think you can, and they probably are, because they've beaten up some sides pretty badly, and all of a sudden, it'll happen. He'll do that, and he'll do that, and guess what? It doesn't happen.
And this is the thing, you can't do it. Somebody can't go in the centre bounce and clap their hands and say, come on, boys, let's go. Yeah. It doesn't. Football doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Just to back up your
It's a habits game. That's what it is.
At halftime, the centre bounce clearances were 13-6 Melbourne's way. They kicked 5 goals from those 13 centre bounce clearances. After halftime, it was 7 apiece.
Yeah, and they didn't kick a goal.
Out of that. So Luke Beveridge clearly addressed that at halftime, challenged his midfielders, and they got the response.
Yeah, and what they did also is off the back of the square, the Dogs took the risk and brought players up higher to take sort of the attacking position. So then when Melbourne did look and come out of the centre square, okay, there's a Dogs player there. We've got to take another avenue.
The number 1 pick from a year ago, Jamari Ugle-Hagan, kicked 5 goals, 3 in the final term, including a signature moment right on the bell as the Dogs win by 10 points over the reigning premiers. Into the winners' rooms with Lauren Borden. Loz.
Every single person in this winners' room is smiling. The players are coming. They're getting hugs up from players who didn't take the field tonight. Bontempelli let him in. Everyone is hugging. It's a raucous atmosphere down here. Treloar, he's got his jumper on after being subbed off with the calf injury, but he was one of the first to be hugged around. They're now going to make their circle in, calling the players in. Ugle-Hagan, as you can imagine, is getting lots of pats on the head. Everyone's getting around him after his 5-goal performance. Luke Beveridge was one of the first in the rooms as well, and he was getting handshakes from everyone in the room. And now he's getting a few more pats on the back while he's getting around his players as well. Alex Keith making his way into the circle. They've got the chairs around their circle as well for afterwards, but they'll sing the song now.
That's a pretty happy winners' rooms, as you can imagine. Some reaction from the Dogs camp momentarily. The Bulldogs 10-8, so they move past Richmond in the 8th spot on the premiership table. A huge loss in the context of the season for Melbourne. So the Cats, as Clinchy mentioned, a game clear on top now. So given the fact that Geelong held off Port Adelaide in a close finish over in Adelaide, Melbourne, after the Dogs were finally able to put their nose in front tonight, the D's couldn't snatch back the lead in the waning moments, and as a result, they sit on 13 wins. Joining them on 13 wins are the Brisbane Lions. They sit half a game ahead of Fremantle, and then half a game further back is the Sydney Swans. So all of a sudden, there's not just a race on for those final spots in the top 4 and the double chance, but also the top 2 and the 2 home finals that come with it.
And the Bulldogs next Saturday night, Cats down to the Cattery.
Oh, it's a big one.
Good challenge.
Absolutely.
Challenge.
1 and 2 in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
Well, if they play anywhere where they did play tonight, which is in a bubble here, which is no wind and no all that sort of stuff, they were fantastic. They just kept at it. They didn't look like it at any stage, really, did they? They were going to win, and all of a sudden they just blew them away. Thought it was terrific.
We spoke to Jack McRae on the lead last week, and I think you asked him, or Lingy asked him, what are you seeing from Jamari Ugle-Hagan in the training sessions that suggest he's on the right path? And I think his answer was something along the lines of, we're seeing enough of it. Yeah. We just need him to do it in games. We know he's got a special talent. He just hasn't been able to showcase that when it matters the most.
Yeah.
And I mean, there were similar comparisons with he and Buddy Franklin. It's pretty early to be making those claims, but there was enough tonight to see that when it does click, he's going to be an influential player.
Well, he's had 10 kicks for 5 goals, and he's had 6 marks within the game. But it just looked tonight, he wanted to hit up at the ball. He wanted to lead up. He wanted the ball to come to him.
Someone's taught him how to do that.
Yeah, and
that's
I think
a good thing.
I think what we've got to appreciate too, he's only a second-year player.
Yep.
We've all got to take a bit of a deep breath, and he's a talented key position player, but they do take time. There's not many key position players that just, they come in, they're first pick in the draft, and it clicks for them. It doesn't happen like that, you know. On-ballers are a little bit different. So I just loved his work rate today. I thought that was, I can see it now.
Let's go into the winners' rooms. Lauren Borden.
I've got Mitch Hannon down here. It's a pretty happy rooms at the moment. This game had everything we'd expect between Melbourne and the Western Bulldogs. What are your immediate thoughts after the match?
Just relief, to be honest. They're a really tough opponent, Melbourne, obviously, and there's a lot to play for us in this back end of the year. So every win is extremely crucial, and just having one tonight makes things a little bit easier.
Everyone's pretty wrapped in the rooms. Obviously, it was a close match, but, you know, there's all that history with Melbourne as well. How much meaning do you put on a game like this when you go up against Melbourne?
A lot, of course. They're one of the best 2 teams in the league this year, obviously, and we knew that coming off last year as well, that they're a very contested team, and it was always going to be a tough fight. So to be able to have a win at the back end of the season against last year's premiers probably gives us a bit more belief. So.
And Jamara Ugle-Hagan, obviously, he got the 5 goals tonight. Bit of a watch and wait. We were just waiting for him to have this breakout game. How long have you guys known it was coming, and can you tell us just a little bit about him?
Yeah, he's a great talent, obviously, Jamara. He's a great athlete, he's a good size, and he's only in his second year. He's a young kid, and he's got a lot to learn, but heaps of upside. And I think tonight we saw having the likes of Bruce and Norton in there as well probably freed him up a little bit, and we got to see him sort of have a good flight at the ball, took some good marks, and what I thought was really pleasing was his finishing on goal. Some really nice strikes of the ball and finished beautifully.
We'll head up to the box now and get some more questions from Adam Ramanauskas and Mark McClure.
Mitch, you must have worked on their clearance work at half-time because it changed all the dynamic completely.
Yeah, we did a little bit. We obviously pride ourselves in the midfield as much as the Ds do. They're a serious engine room that's very combative, and we sort of pride ourselves on being a little bit more slick and with handballing and sort of clearance work. So we did. We kind of got on top in there. We got another, I think, a number around the stoppage as well, just to sort of nullify them a little bit, and then it seemed to work a treat.
Mitch, so just take it just further to that question. So at halftime, did you watch some footage? Because you got the computers and the like. They were dominating, particularly out of centre bounce. They kicked 5 goals out of centre bounce to half-time. Was it, okay, we've got to adjust, or did you actually watch footage at half-time about what was going on in there?
The midfield would have done. We sort of go into our lines and watch a little bit of footage at half-time, so I was probably caught up looking at some defensive stuff, but there's no doubt that the midfielders would have watched a little bit of something and then made a bit of an adjustment in terms of getting an extra number around that stoppage and sort of like nullifying some of their numbers that are come around the back, some of their high forwards, Neil Bullen and the likes, and then I think we saw the benefit of that in the second half.
Now, your own self, you ended up at full-back at times on Bailey Fridge. I don't imagine that would have happened too often in your career. Absolutely not.
Buka was playing on him for the majority of the night, and then at times found myself on him. But yeah, I've played a lot of footy with Fritter, so I know what he's like. He's a tremendous athlete, and he's just got a nous for just finding the goals and being extremely slippery. So I had my work cut out for me there at some points, but in the end, good finish.
About 9 months ago, they got beaten by 80 points in the grand final. It's a big difference to what we saw today.
Absolutely. Well, we even
huge difference.
Yeah, even round one, we got a little bit of a shock as well. So it was nice to see. I think we love playing at Marvel as well. That probably gave us a little bit of an edge as well. But as you know, things change, injuries happen, sides move around. Like myself, I found myself all of last year and started this year in the forward line. Now I'm in the back line. So things are always evolving, and teams are always changing probably for the better.
Mitch Hannon from the Western Bulldogs has joined us following their 10-point win over the Demons. Mitch, it's smack clinch here. Was there a moment where it felt like it started to click in that final term? I mean, you kicked 5 of the last 6 goals of the match, and it felt like at stages you were sort of threatening until it got to that last quarter where it all seemed to click.
Yeah, I agree. I think some of the sort of defining moments I saw was when we found ourselves just around the forward arc and Jamar was taking some good lead-ups and hanging on to them. and that sort of gave us the ability to sort of get some deeper entries. So I think when those sort of balls were getting marked and we were getting it in a little deeper, we found the ball in our forward half a lot more often, and then we sort of started to see the tide swing a little bit. But I think the likes of Riley Garcia's goal was a massive moment. In terms of just sort of like the belief that we had to be able to hang on, and then obviously Jamar with the finishing blow.
Yeah, we felt that was a massive moment up here as well. Like Stephen May rarely turns the footy over. He does so. Hugh Pounce kicked the goal. All of a sudden he finds himself in the forward 50 and Aaron Norton comes down with him. So what's happening there? Is Norton going the full journey with him, or he started to almost organise the troops by the end?
Yeah, that's right. Well, in those sort of final moments, it's very heavily contested and it's all about small margins. So I think you probably, if you look back at the footage, you would have seen a couple extra numbers behind the ball in Aaron and maybe even Josh Bruce at times, just to sort of try and get an extra, but then they equalise. So that means Stephen May comes back and then it's just a bit more congested and hard for them to score.
Mitch Hannon on grandstand. AFL, the D's leading by 13 points in the final term. The Dogs have kicked the last 4 goals of the game to win by 10. Can you just give us a bit more insight on Jamar as to what he's like just as a teammate around the club? We've heard so much about him, obviously, as the number 1 pick and long promised. He comes out and kicks 5 goals tonight. What's he like as a teammate?
Yeah, he's great. He's forever evolving. I think for a number 1 draft pick, there's always a lot of heat, a lot of pressure, and he probably felt that a little bit last year, as most first picks do. So he's been able to settle in a little bit this year, and I think you can see just physically he's put on a little bit of size. He's probably adjusted to understand what it takes to be an AFL player, and having the likes of Josh Bruce, I think in particular, a bit of a mature head in his ear, sort of letting him know what to work on, has been vital for him. And yeah, back into the season now, and he's starting to sort of have some great performances. So, go on,
Mitch. So he's kicked 3 of his 5 goals in the final quarter. When did you first see that he had this in him? Was there a moment where you thought, gee, this guy has the potential to pull games apart?
I think I see it at training quite a bit. He's obviously, for a 19-year-old, he sort of seems to slot them from outside 50 pretty often. So he's got a booming kick on him, and he's got plenty of sort of, I guess, that little bit of X factor. So we sort of always knew he had the ability. He's done a bit of it at VFL level as well, but it's great to see him do it at this level, but also against such a quality opponent in Melbourne. To know that he can have that kind of performance will give him heaps of confidence.
Mitch, I noticed that he changed his running patterns towards running towards the ball carrier a lot more on the lead-up sort of mark. He's got some pace, he's got some speed, but he can also mark it. But it's an easier ball when you lead to the ball carrier.
That's right, yeah. I think he's been working on that quite a bit as well. But another thing for a young forward as well is that repeat effort stuff. Yeah. For him to sort of lead at the ball, make a contest, that's one thing, and that's how he knows to play ever since he was a junior. But to be able to sort of mop up, tackle, pressure, go again, I think you've seen that sort of start to grow in his game as well. That's probably where he's getting some more opportunities.
You see the good habits starting to blossom.
That's right.
Mitch, just before we go, you're in a unique position, obviously. You used to be in the other locker room and now obviously playing with the Western Bulldogs for a second season. Grand final day, obviously, last year you were there. There was a lot made about what happened over the summer and the spice leading into the grand final rematch in round 1. Did it feel a little extra good to get a victory over this group in particular? Is there a bit of bad blood between the two camps?
No, I wouldn't say bad blood. I obviously personally am still really good friends with a lot of those guys and catch up with them pretty regularly. But like you said, after the long summer, getting to a grand final and having it not fall our way and then also losing round 1 really hurt. So, but as we know in footy, you've really got to reset. Every year is different, and at the moment we're sort of focusing on trying to get ourselves into finals. So, and tonight really went a long way to sort of helping us.
Mitch, really appreciate your time. Well done on the win tonight. Can't wait to see what you've got next week against the Cats.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for having me.
Mitch Hannon in the winners' rooms.
I find this extraordinary at the moment.
Very weird.
We're 20 minutes removed from the final siren. Jake Lever was a late withdrawal. Now he's out here doing run-throughs with Toby Bedford. Robbie McComb is also out in the ground. Now, Bedford and McComb were subs, but why Jake Lever would be capable of doing this and not capable of playing the game, I find fascinating.
Looks like a ballet.
Yeah, there have been rumours all week that he was struggling, so it wasn't surprising he didn't take his spot at the last moment, but then to come out and do this after the game would kind of suggest, well, if you were 50-50, you would have thought he'd be more likely to play than not play. It sets it up beautifully, obviously, for next week. Freo in Melbourne, Friday night in the West. Geelong Western Bulldogs, Saturday night down at the category. Tigers have blown one of their chances, but they play Brisbane, who got a good win tonight against the Suns.
This could go on tomorrow morning. He could have gone down and done that tomorrow morning.
The votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year in just a moment. The results today. So come from behind victories in both games tonight. So the Dogs down at three-quarter time by 13. They win by 10 over Melbourne. Now, the Lions were down by 7 at three-quarter time against the Suns. They win that game by 17 at the Gabba. Geelong by 12 points, kicking the last 2 goals of the game to beat Port Adelaide. Sydney by 33 over Adelaide. They did their work early in the piece. And likewise, Hawthorn by 46 points at quarter time over North. They win by the same margin. The votes, Sellers in the ABC Footballer of the Year.
I gave one to Angus Brayshaw. I thought he was sensational. 29 possessions. He had 11 marks. He had 3 tackles. He continued to drive the ball out of defence, but even he couldn't hold them up. I gave 2 to Jamara Ugelhagen, who kicked 5 goals. I mean, it's a breakthrough for this kid. He kicked 3 in the last quarter, which is a massive effort to finish off a game at a 19-year-old after running all day as well. And on top, Marcus Bontempelli. I just think Bont was unbelievable. He had 9 tackles. Let's do the 9. I love that. 9 tackles. He had 4 marks. He had 26 possessions. He kicked a goal. What else do you have to do to win a game of football?
I like those votes, Sellers. 1 for Brayshaw, 2 for Jamara Ugelhagen, 3 for Bontempelli. Thanks for your work tonight, Sellers.
Cheers, boys.
Thanks to Rama, thanks to Clinchy, to Jules, to Lauren downstairs, and to Tom back in the studio. That'll just about do us from Docklands tonight. Another huge twist in a fascinating season. The Dogs are in the top 8 tonight. They get themselves to 10 and 8, and they get themselves past Melbourne for the first time in 3 meetings, exacting some sort of revenge on last year's premiers. Melbourne dropped to 13 and 5, a 10-point victory for the Dogs. We'll pull it all apart tomorrow on Grandstand AFL Sunday. Hope you can join us from 12 noon Eastern.
Service.
This winter, snuggle in and chill with the best on ABC iView. The best drama.
Selling an idea, summers that never end.
The best comedy.
Not the audience for Hamlet, Major. Not?
The best things you really can't explain.
Do you see what's been revealed?
Natalie Bassingthwaite's Space 22, new Aussie drama Barons, The Unmissable Gruen, Mystery Road, and so many more.
Cool, that's so cool.
Chill with all your new favourite series this winter. Stream for free on ABC iView.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
In case you missed it.
Extraordinarily valuable and powerful.
They are very strong words.
To hear these players talk about this.
Why do you see it differently?
Athletes suffer from this. It's not fair.
Why were you expelled?
Good question.
The Ticket.
Reflections.
Hello, welcome to a special midweek edition of The Ticket. I'm Tracy Holmes. There are few sporting heroes whose names have been invoked by a foreign Prime Minister in a speech at Parliament House. Dawn Fraser is one. Back in 1964, she was setting records for her feats in the Tokyo Olympic pool and making headlines for her shenanigans out of it. A 9-year-old Japanese boy watched it all on television, enthralled. By 2014, a year after Tokyo had won the rights to host the 2020 Olympic Games, that boy had become Japan's Prime Minister, Shinzo Abe. Addressing a joint sitting at Parliament House in Canberra, with Dawn Fraser watching on from the gallery, Prime Minister Abe called for the greatest female swimmer of all time to lead a new dawn at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics.
In 2020, Tokyo will once again host the Olympic and Paralympic Games. As for me, I watched the 1964 Olympics, and I saw one of the many who were dazzled by the power of Miss Dawn Fraser, who is in the gallery today. Miss Fraser, to me, you are Australia. Thank you very much for coming here today. Miss Fraser Dawn, I hope we see you in good shape in Tokyo once more in 2020. I hope very much that you bring forth a new dawn to Japan and a new dawn to the future of Australia-Japan relations. Thank you very much.
But a lot can change in a short space of time. Along came COVID-19. Abe retired due to health concerns. The Tokyo Games became the first in history to be postponed. And despite still being recognised when she walks the streets in Tokyo today, Fraser-san, as they refer to her there, will not be heading back to the Games, even though she had every intention of doing so. One of the world's athletes of the century, an Australian Hall of Famer and an Aussie character in the truest sense of the word, will be like thousands of others for this year's Games, tuning in from home. I caught up with Dawn recently on the banks of the Noosa River in Queensland, not far from where she lives. Dawn, it's a real pleasure to talk to you, and there's so much to cover, but I guess we should start in Tokyo 2020, now taking place in 2021. You originally thought you were going to go, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
But you were advised not to, or you decided not to?
Oh, I've had a long talk with my doctor. I have been vaccinated, but look, I'm very disappointed I'm not going to be there, mainly for the swimmers and the other athletes that I have helped along the way. But I just think that, because I'm 83 years of age, and I've got a young family, and we're all asthmatics, so I don't want to have to sort of catch a cold or do anything like that and bring it home and let my grandson catch it or my daughter catch it. So the decision was made that I'm not going. So I'm disappointed, but I will be watching television.
When you think about Tokyo taking place this year, do you naturally go back to the year that you were there?
Oh, yes, all the time. I mean, 1964 to me was absolutely fantastic year. The Japanese people really adopted me as a person. And, I've been back to Tokyo on quite a few occasions, and people still recognise me. And they say, "Oh, what are you doing here, Flavor-son?" And, I've taken my grandson's been back doing some winter sport and, been recognised, and I've told them the story. And we were walking around Tokyo one day